Alright, I promised after that, so we'll finish right now. I just really, really like that part. It's like my favorite part of the whole thing. Alright. Whoops. Hi. You guys will have to let me know if there's background noise, because if there is, I can fix it a little bit, but I can't monitor myself. I'm wearing the wireless headphones, so I don't get any feedback on how loud I'm being or whether or not you can hear the many, many, many things that are going on in my background. It sounds amazing. All right, awesome. Because the thing with today is we're in a new location, as you might be able to induce, right? This is not back home in Huntington. Today, as the title would imply, we're in Mexico. So today we're going to be just trying out the internet connection.
Hi, booksmarts.
Seeing if it can do this or if I need to go somewhere else when I want to stream. Right now we're in the place that I'm staying. The Wi-Fi is so-so, you know, and it's intermittent. So like last night, I think it got down to like 1.2 megabits per second. When I was doing my speed tests. I was very worried for today, but then I was checking it earlier and I was getting like 9 to 10. So to mama. Okay, thanks. I never seen you stream from the same location twice. Interesting. You know, it's funny you mention that because it's something I think about. Like I know probably other Twitch like viewers don't care about this. I personally like when the setting changes. Like you're always going to have the same exact person on the screen, right? Because that's your streamer. But I think the interesting thing is, where are they? What are they doing? What is the story today? And you can change that through the topics, I think. But it's a lot easier to also change the environment. And I think it can like drag people in who, you know, think the other set is boring or whatever. So I call myself Big Banana Pimp. My email will change to that too. It's PG, by the way. I don't know how to change it. Okay. What do you mean by PG? Vegas is the only place I've seen twice, but different perspectives. And you know what's funny? The inside of that Vegas room, it looks exactly the same, but it was actually a different suite on like an entirely different floor. They were designed to be exactly the same, but mirrored. And so it was funny showing up to it and thinking I got the exact same place, and I didn't. Because it also turns out that the higher the number of floors you went up in the hotel, the bigger of a problem the draft would be. And by draft, I mean that underneath the hotel door, the wind was so strong coming through it that it would make this just obscene whistling, and I had to like cover it up with a towel and shoes. And this is a problem I never had in the other Vegas room. So doxing myself, poggers? Yeah. Anywho, so how is it? You guys can hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Is anything lagging at all? Definitely let me know. Let me check my OBS real quick, because my OBS is telling me we're borderline problematic in, you know, our data consumption. Why are you always in different places? Because I don't have like a solid place to live, so I move around a lot. And well, initially I thought that was kind of frustrating because I really would like to be somewhere else. Here, let me turn this down a little bit too. Look great, sound great, you're great. Awesome. Yeah, because I initially wanted a place, and I've been working on that in the background for quite some time. Initially I thought it was a problem of money. So I got together a bunch of money, in large part thanks to a super cool dono who reached out. But it wasn't a matter of money. They need income verification. They need like tax information. They need a bunch of stuff. And it ends up being that they pick people who are a lot less complicated to get to fill in the apartment. So I just kept getting rejected. And I wasted like close to $1,000 on application fees. So I'm done with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to accept the fact that I have to move around and that I have to pay for places like up front every month, and I'll just have fun with it. If I have to pay for a new place every month, fuck it. I'm going to stay at the beach in Mexico. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to go to, you know, the redwood forests of Northern California. I'm going to see Portland, a rainy month in Seattle. I'm going to do this. I'm going I'm gonna take you guys with me along for the ride, and I think that that'll be kind of fun. And maybe we'll explore. We'll get better at doing IRL streaming and visit some places. Maybe not necessarily as a stream. That might be like a YouTube thing, but it's another thing I'm considering, especially here. I'm thinking about going around and shooting some different places and then bringing that footage here and editing it into something that would be interesting to you guys that you wouldn't have seen on the stream. So, yeah. Stream scuffed, can't see thighs. Oh. Okay, do you want me to... Here, I can pull it down. Love the hair. My hair is not looking too good today, actually. All right, there we go. Get some thigh in there. Hold on. Well, you guys are ridiculous. I swear to God. Film screw. Yeah, that sounds extremely stressful, but I hope I'm wrong. No, it is stressful. But digital nomad. Yeah, basically. I used to do the digital nomad thing. When we... Now, there is a lot of noise going on, so you tell me when you can hear that. When I lived in Thailand, that was when I was doing a digital nomad thing. So basically every single month I would visit a new country. Like I said, I got a lot of countries off of my list because of that. Japan, Hong Kong, Thailand, Myanmar, and a few others. So I was able to knock all those out mostly because I was doing the digital nomad thing. But even then, I had a base, right? And my frustration is with not having a base. Right now, my base is like the office and my dad's house, and I don't want it to be my dad's house. I would rather have my own place. So I'm thinking I may just fool around between Airbnbs, get rid of the van at my dad's house, just completely get rid of it so I'm not tempted to go back to it, and then keep the office as a base. So if I, need to access a computer with a lot of, horsepower, I have the office. If I need to save VODs and save them to Patreon or whatever with a better internet connection that I have access to, I can remote into my desktop in Huntington Beach and I can do that, right? So that's the plan right now. And we may do some videos that way or some VOD uploads to Patreon that way. Like this one today, I think will be one that I don't keep up on the Twitch or the YouTube, and I will make it private for the patrons, just because we're doing nonsense today. What about you on Booksy? Your hair is fabulous. Flaunt it or I'll taunt it. I really don't think it is today. Now, maybe what might be helpful to know, for how I judge it, is how well I'm able to manage this poof. See, I have a poof. I have like a cowlick. And so a lot of the time when I'm styling it, I'm trying to make sure that that goes away. And my measurement is how well I'm able to get that poof, that cowlick, to blend in with the rest of my hair. So if it all looks uniform, great. If it looks like there's a giant poof right here at the middle of my head, not so great, right? And so I didn't shower this morning. I showered last night. So when I went to bed, my hair was all fucked up. And an interesting thing with Tijuana is the water turns off. So I couldn't wet it and do it the way I wanted to this morning. Now I can, but we're kind of already in the middle of the stream. Embrace the poof? I mean, I do. I can't get rid of it. So a lot of the time it's about how can I take these side pieces of hair and make them like fit into the larger whole? How can I get the parts that I can control to play into the poof? I think that that might be good advice to give to anybody with any kind of hair that they don't like. If there's an aspect of your hair that you don't like, typically it's because you can't change it. Like you can't just add gel and get rid of it or straighten it and make it perfect. So if there's a part that you don't like, try to play around that. Assume that you were given like an essay prompt, and part of the prompt is that you're required to work this aspect of your hair into the rest of the style, and then work with that. Don't work with like imaginary hairstyles that you ideally wish you could have. And this kind of builds off on some other life advice that I've given. That's to keep in mind that you don't have to be your type, right? You don't have to be like the type of person that you're into. You are going to be a type of person that somebody else is going to be into, right? And so you just need to play your hand the best way that you can, right? A person who's into these unchangeable, immutable features of me, what would they be into, right? And maybe play around that. How can I be handsome per like what I have going on, right? And then people for whom you are that type will like you, right? And you don't have to be attracted to yourself. That's not a requirement. That makes like no sense, right? So just make sure you're cool with yourself, you're confident in yourself, but it doesn't mean you have to like be attracted to yourself. You don't have to do your hair in a way that you like seeing on other people or that you like seeing in other places, right? You got to work with what you have and, you know, move from there. I'm fucking balding. That's the part of my hair that I don't like. Well, you know, again, there's things you could do with that, right? You could shave it all off. You could do a comb over. You could do like a million other things. So figure out what you want to do with that. Even better if you have somebody in your life who likes you, right? Then what do those people think looks good on you? Maybe you're not the best judge of how good you look, right? It's another thing to keep in mind. If you're not your type, who are the people who have been attracted to you or do kind of like the way that you look, and what off of that? That might be like a helpful thing to help you gauge that. Heisenberg book smarts, fuck Bucker. Anywho, one thing that I want to show you guys. Oh man, you're gonna like this. You will not believe the view from this place. Let me go ahead and show you guys the view real quick. This is a Patreon exclusive, okay? This is going nowhere else. Get ready for this. Dance the night away. All right, I'm just going to pick this up. Maybe I can't have commentary. Dance the night away. Hold on. Ooh. How is that working? Wait, one sec. Yo, sorry about that. The port on this laptop, dude, is just like no good. He's trolling us? No, I wasn't. I wasn't trolling you. I wasn't trolling you, dude. F in chat for Mike, yeah. The USB port on this laptop is like not very, very good, so it kind of just cuts in and out, unfortunately. We really need a new laptop. I gotta save up for that. But now that I'm having to pay for these, I don't know when that's gonna happen, but alas. It's green screened. He can't afford that. Interesting. I love the mic, by the way. Thanks. He did a little pog. Lol, you could see his moment of realization. That was adorable. Shut the fuck up, guys. I hate you. I hate you. All right, but yeah, so that's where we're at. Basically, this is like, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but last night I went to sleep to the sound of the ocean. Okay? I went to sleep to the crashing of the waves. You guys can't hear it because of the mic being really, really good. Did you move? No. I move every month, so I guess technically we could say I moved. I move every month. I might be tempted to get another place here. If it doesn't end up being that bad, like out on the streets and stuff, I really like it here. It's not that bad. The weather is perfect. It's the same thing as where I'm from, except maybe a little bit colder. I went to sleep last night to like the roaring of the waves, like literally all night. It's literally steps from my door. Like, I don't know. It's kind of nice here. Windows all the way around, you know? Ocean sounds. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Nomad smarts for sure. Yeah. All right. But part of the trip is also trying to get caught up on a lot of like business stuff. So if you have reached out to me for tutoring or for consulting, you know that I haven't been very good about making sure that like we get stuff scheduled and we actually work together. So are you in Mexico? Yeah. So I need to get better at that. And right now I'm making a system with my assistant, and hopefully we're able to like make sure everybody gets taken care of. So everybody that requests tutoring will get a date and will be scheduled at least like once a week. That's the plan. So by the time I leave Mexico, I want to have a workflow for that so we can handle all the tutoring and consulting requests that we get. I need to have workflows for the stream to make sure that there are always timestamps in every single VOD. In the future, when we make just a little bit more money on the Patreon, I want to have every single YouTube video have a unique thumbnail. And the assistant lady is going to help me with a lot of that. The assistant lady is hopefully going to help schedule everybody and figure out what they need. The assistant lady is hopefully going to figure out coordinating times with other streamers for collaborations, and hopefully she's also going to help with these thumbnails and the timestamps and stuff like that as well. If not actually doing them, just like making sure that she checks with me and make sure that I do them, because I'm forgetful and I'm not perfect. And so hopefully she can help me with that. We'll see though. I'm like 50-50 on whether or not I'm gonna be able to make use of her, because she's not able to do a ton of stuff that I need her to do. So we'll see. But anywho, what kind of tutoring do you do? All sorts. So there's a lot of essay writing tutoring that I do. So a lot of people will reach out and they'll be like, hey, I heard that you wrote graduate papers for a living. Could you help me with this paper? Like, I have a research paper, I have a dissertation, I've turned it in or I haven't turned it in, I've gotten edits back or I haven't, and then we kind of go from there and we fix up their paper, or I help them with like strategies on like tackling papers. And then there's a whole other subset of people who want my help with kind of all of their subjects, because it's focused on like studying. Your butt is hanging out of your pants? Oh, that's that's not my butt, that's my belly. I have so much belly. He is in the Booksmarts couch region. Very beautiful around this time of the year. Interesting. You're looking particularly cute today. Interesting you think that. He should become one of the meta bed streamers. I honestly could. I mean, with a body like this. Make sure my ass isn't hanging out per that other viewer's comment. But yeah, so a lot of other people need help with like all of their subjects, and so to help them, I help with study skills. So some people ask me like, hey, if in my personal life I wanted to get like really well read into this particular field, like how would I do that? And how do I know to read this versus that? And like answering meta level questions about studying and research and all that, that's a whole nother subsect of what people ask me for. I almost am tempted to call that advice more so than tutoring. But there's a lot of like advice stuff as well. All of that, to get any of that started, you just email me, booksmarts.twitch@gmail.com. Granted, right now, it's up in the air. Like, this week is the first week that I was able to basically get everybody who had a reasonable schedule scheduled. If you're listening to this right now and you're like, what the fuck, Booksmarts, I didn't get scheduled, either email me back, or if I got your availability, it's because you gave me some availability that, like, dead ass will not fit with anything in the week. Like, if you're going to give me availability, don't tell me like 2 days with like an hour window on both of those days, because the odds that you're going to be able to fit in between the stream, the work in the background, the meetings with the assistant lady, all of the fucking Notion work that I have to do with the assistant lady, like, it's not very likely. I need like bigger availability zones for you. So those are the only people that didn't get scheduled this week. Everybody else, you're taken care of. You're good to go. So you can email that email if you want. We're still working on getting everybody scheduled and whatever, so just bear with me in the interim. What are you doing with all this ass? What are you talking about? Pretty sure the assistant lady is just his VTuber avatar. Yeah, it's Kimiko. You're looking okay. Studying 101 with Bookie. You can make YouTube videos about that? I could. Dude, the YouTube videos take forever. I don't want to make them on educational stuff because I feel like I should just charge money for that. I'd rather make videos about like stuff going on in my life, or like cool stuff I want to share with the internet. I thought a lot about that recently. It would be good, like morally and whatever, to make those videos and to put them out there. But the time that they take from me and the money that they pay back when I'm in a situation where I really need money, it just doesn't make sense. It would make a lot more sense for me personally to like edit a video I'm personally stoked for. So like if we go out and do something funny or something cool, I would like to, in the videos of this time period in my life, and see, oh, you did this, oh, you did that, that's pretty cool. So yeah, you know, that's where I'm at with it. I'm kind of only doing videos that I personally want to like look back on later, in their entirety. The Biden video was Pog. Yeah, the Biden video was Pog, but man, it just, again, like maybe if I made money with that, I would be willing to. But what you don't see is that the Biden video took like hours and hours and hours to make. Like if you compare the amount of prep time and whatever it took to do the Biden stream versus like any other stream, you would see that like the number of hours that went into prep was like enormous. So it's like, you know, that's not really rewarded on Twitch or YouTube, not at my level. So it just doesn't make sense to do those videos. Now, if I knew that every time I put out a video, I made like $500 easy off of it, then it's like, okay, well, that's different. Then I can cut up the 500 into hourly, put that into prep, and like offset the cost for me of making the video. But right now, if a video makes like $2, I'm not going to put like 40 hours into like preparing and researching and writing out and outlining and color coding an entire like, you know, prep document for a single video. It's just, it's not going to happen. And then I have to edit it happen, you know? But maybe in the future when it makes more monetary sense, it can. But again, this is something where going over it with consultants and going over it with friends and going over it with the assistant lady, it's very clear that videos like that make absolutely no sense to make. They're really great. They really are. But they make no sense to make. There's like no benefit to it. So that's kind of the problem. You could see those videos as advertisements for your services. Yeah, you could. But my services don't match up with that either. Nobody is paying me to make like a line-by-line critique of their stuff. I thought maybe they would. But the thing that I learned when I joined Twitch, all of the people that do debate... Oh, man. Hold on. How I got to be careful with this. How do I say this? I don't think that the people that do debate are interested in paying money to improve their debate performances. That's what I'll say, dude. That's what I'll say. That's the safe answer. I'm not going to shit on them, no. I'm going to say that the people that do debate are not interested in improving their debate performance, especially not paying for it, and especially not improving for the sake of like reaching consensus as quickly as possible, which is kind of all that I can advise you for. Like anytime I give mean advice, it's a bit of a meme, and I don't think it's very good or helpful. So I just don't think I'm equipped to give advice to Twitch debate people. I'm more equipped to review things and be comedic than I am to give them any actionable advice. The only actionable advice I can give really is to people that seek it out, like Steven, or through the form of like life advice, which I give to you guys a lot of the time. So that's kind of where I'm at with stuff. Why be careful, Book? This is a Patreon exclusive. Yeah, I know, but people listen, dude, and then I get in trouble. I'm unfortunately, I've passed the level where like I can think that the people aren't in the chat, so I have to worry about that too. Yeah, even Senpai Chow's in here, dude. So I gotta fucking I gotta put the kid gloves on, dude. I can't be talking shit on debate people. Do you do copywriting? I most certainly do. It's very boring, but yeah, I do. You could, but I think I would charge a lot more than like just hiring well, actually, if you actually hired like a professional person who does copy like for a living or like has a lot of experience in marketing, they might charge more, but I just don't think it'd be very cost effective for you to hire me. How much do you charge for tutoring? Right now, it's a hell of a deal. I'm surprised more people are not jumping on the tutoring. The tutoring is only $25 an hour. That was the cheapest that I would charge doing tutoring when I used to do it in person. So, I mean, it's out there for people. For $25, you can have an entire hour of tutoring with me, the guy who did papers for a living. Like, when I used to tutor essay writing, I would charge between, like, maybe 60 and 75 an hour for that. So I mean, I think you guys are getting a deal. And if we did like, you're looking at like 125 to 150 an hour. So yeah, I think you're getting a hell of a deal on the tutoring. I don't know how long I'm keeping that at 25. The second we're filling more than like maybe 10 hours a week, I have to increase that. That's way low. But there you go. I mean, it's out there for you guys. Jesus fuck, book, you're scamming yourself. That's how I feel, dude. But I feel bad when people are like reaching out to me and they're like, you know, I live in a small village in Mexico and I need help with X, Y, and Z and I just want to improve my English. And it's like, all right, bro. Okay, fine. I'll do 25 an hour. I don't know. Essay writing and dissertations mostly. Yeah, that's most of what I used to write. There's are actually like $40 base here. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I don't know. For like for people that want essay writing stuff in particular, I'm tempted to go up to like 40 to 50. But for people that just need like general tutoring help or just need help on like a single paper, maybe just like 25, I think is fair. I don't know. We'll revisit it. It doesn't make a ton of sense having it at 25, but I don't know how that would affect people reaching out if I were to raise it. I'm sure there's a bunch of people who would like to talk to you on topics, myself included, on off stream. Why not charge for that? I do. Except that is not 25. That's usually 40 to 50. But yeah, I do. People have had me do everything from asking me questions about how they should like run their esports team to how should I present these ideas, these scientific ideas to my colleagues, to how do I ask a professor for X, Y, or Z. Like people bring me weird stuff all the time. And generally that's like 40 an hour because it's consulting work at that point. But yeah, I do that too. People have asked me to review podcasts for them privately. There's been like a bunch of random requests. So if that's something that you want, for sure, reach out. The same email, booksmarts.twitch at gmail. Let's see. I'm going to check out the Discord to see maybe what we should plan for this week in terms of content. Let's go ahead and take a look at the vote suggestions. All right. I wonder what we have. Let's see. We have... I need a Booksmarts rhetoric analysis on this masterpiece of a discussion. Revolutionary Buddhist confuses destiny with infinite value argument. Actually, over scenes here so you guys can watch along with me. Oh, that didn't switch scenes. Wait, none of them are switching scenes. Why is that? Very interesting. None of my buttons are working. Oh well. I'll just manually click it here. No, don't. That talk feels so dumb. Brenton is so inconcise. He broke his splitter? Did I break my splitter? No, this isn't what I wanted at all.
Oh no, this isn't what I wanted. Oh man. Oh man. Oh, this is more like it.
Nice to watch you. Hi, everybody. We're gonna need a 1.75 on that one. Too boring. Okay. Too boring. I appreciate your candid response there. Too boring, huh? Okay, well we have that one. Again, you can go on the Discord, go to the vote suggestions channel, and you can vote on all of these to tell me if you want them or don't want them. Right now, this one's at 5 down and 3 up, and then 3 Pepe last for some reason. I'll add that emote later. Let's see. Oh, there was a lot of votes for this. Irrelevant and Mr. Fanatic. This Mr. Fanatic guy I've been seeing on Twitter lately. What's going on with him? Here you go. But yeah, this is another option. Irrelevant. I don't think I've reviewed an irrelevant debate in a long time. We could do that. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. Already did that. These. I'm looking forward to doing these at one point. I have to find one where like I actually want to comment on it. So for those of you that don't know, this video series called Street Epistemology. Where do I start with this? I have an idea. Let's start with an anecdote. Here, I'll switch the camera view over and we'll kind of talk about this for a little bit. Let's go just chatting. I don't know why my stream deck isn't working though. That's kind of pissing me off. Let's hope that does it. Wow, thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. Hold on, let me bring up my chat. Mobile setups. What about the Destiny Vosh Demon Mama Plus panel? I don't really cover panels. That's the unfortunate thing. I really don't cover panels. The reason that I don't cover panels is because they're not productive. Jesus Christ. They're not fuck, I need coffee, dude. I'm like half asleep. They're not very productive, okay? I don't know how to explain this to you. If you haven't been on the channel in a while, you probably missed. I had a whole arc, okay? I had a whole arc where I tried to cover panels. It's a multifaceted problem. So, number one, there are too many people, okay? The number of people means that the number of arguments multiply. And the number of people with different incentives looking to jump on different arguments and lines of reasoning, it becomes very complicated very, very quickly. The other main issue with it is that panels are a different thing for viewers than they are for streamers. So panels are meant to be a marketing tool. Panels are always an opportunity for you to hopefully increase your reach or increase your viewer number, right? So you're hoping to get in front of a bunch of people, look good enough that they might want to come back to your stream later, and that's the entirety of the point for a streamer. Most of the streamers that I know are not on panels to change minds, really. They're not really on panels to make good arguments. They're on panels to hopefully attract people to their content so they can then do what they want to do on their own channel. So you're put in a weird place where sometimes people have like a maladaptive response to panels where they will put forth a character that they don't really do on their stream, or they start behaving in ways that are like really hyperbolic and look really bad, but will maybe get people to their stream because it's like a similar flavor to what they normally do. Wonders why the stream deck doesn't work, drops the stream deck. All right, whatever, guys. I agree panels aren't very productive, but I've learned a lot from panels. I'm sure you could learn a lot from them. It's just they're very unfun to cover. Because the other thing is, like, what am I going to do? Knowing that people are on there to market their stuff, knowing that they're on there being hyperbolic, knowing that they're on there jumping on whoever's argument that they can. Who am I to jump in there and give them advice on how to reach a concession or how to market themselves better? Like, really? Like, you're not going to go in there and do that. And then beyond that, there are one or two people, and that's all it takes on a panel, that ruin everything, okay? There's one redneck dude, or there's one, random conservative person. There's like always one person that kind of like ruins it constantly. Sometimes that's a lefty. Sometimes that's Bastiat, right? Sometimes people just ruin the panel for everybody else, and they make it like unwatchable for me, because like every time we try to talk about somebody trying to do something or somebody making a good argument, this person just jumps in with some random nonsense that barely even relates. Because again, that one person usually is using this as a platform to market their own stream. So they want to jump in. They want to grab the mic at every opportunity that they can and shout into it whatever the fuck they want, right? And hopefully people will come to their channel. So, that just, like, all of that going on makes it very difficult to cover. It makes it very unfun to cover. So we just don't cover panels very much. So lecture fan, yeah, lecture fan's another good example. He does that as well. Sometimes that's someone who bullies people off panels. Yeah. Or sometimes it's somebody like me that just flips out and just says random shit at the end of every round and is eating his feet. Like last night. What happened last night? Oh, yeah. The street epistemology. I mean, you're saying +1 on that. You can go and vote for it on the Discord. The street epistemology thing, the first time I had ever encountered this idea, and that's what I wanted to go back to earlier, that would have probably been when I was
that book
at
fucker.
the DGG canvassing event. That's when it was. When I was at the DGG canvassing event, I met this guy called Matt. And Matt was one of the volunteers there. He was helping organize a lot of the canvassing stuff and managing alcohol and all that kind of nonsense. But Matt really liked the idea of street epistemology. And you know how I am with philosophers. Matt's a bit of a philosopher. And we got into a street epistemology thing so I could kind of show him how I don't think it really works. That I think all that you're doing is you're playing a game with people and you're able to create all the rules of the game. And though the person may have lost the game with you, it doesn't mean that they're going to change their ideas. A lot of people will default and go back to like, well, that person tricked me into thinking this because of all the questions that they asked, and I just don't know enough to fight back against it. So it's not that I'm wrong. It's that I'm not educated enough to defend what I know to be the right position, right? And then they're instantly, you've lost them, okay? There's so many things people could do to get out of the street epistemology thing, but this person in particular that you guys have been recommending, I really like their approach. It's not trying to show somebody what they're doing is wrong, or at least he doesn't do it like immediately. He takes some time. He like goes through it and he's like, okay, so like you think this and that and this and that and this and that. That period happens a really long time, the exploration period, and I really like that. But the problem is, to cover one of these in a way that I would want to would take a very long time. Because what I would want to do is watch the entire street epistemology episode, know what happens at the end, like what are the points that he actually fights the person on, how far does he get, and then know to look for the breadcrumbs of that before, right? And so that's like a multi-part process, and it would take a while. It would take at least like 2 or 3 viewings to do that. So I would like to cover that. It would just take a while to do it the way that I would want to, because I would want to point out in the questioning phase, hey, later on, he's going to do this and he's going to challenge this point. But look at how he's interacting with the idea. He's not super confrontational with it. He's not asking questions as if he's going to pick it apart later all the time. That's not super clear to the person that he's talking to. And that's a big difference between him and a lot of the debate crowd. The debate crowd are very telegraphed. When Steven, for instance, is asking you a lot of questions, you know what Steven is getting at. You know what his goal is. You know that he's trying to make you look dumb. And that's almost apparent down to like the wording of the question, right? Whereas with the street epistemology, very different. It's very difficult to know where this street epistemology guy is going to go before you reach like the last half of the video, because there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of figuring things out and fact finding, and all of that is free from like judgment, I feel like. And I think he does a good job of that. And he keeps people to where they're not feeling super defensive during the course of the interview. He opens them up because of that, because of his tone and because of the way he's approaching it. And that's why I think it would be super duper cool to know how it's going to end, and then look at those questions and see what he was trying to do and how is he keeping that away from the person that he's talking to. Who is he talking about? I don't know the name of this person, but it's street epistemology. Their name is Magna Bosco, at Magna Bosco, I guess. Anthony Magna Bosco. So he does street epistemology on YouTube. Conversations that feel cooperative are really powerful. Yeah. And again, I feel like you come away at the end of it probably likely to change your beliefs more so than you would the street epistemology that was described to me by Matt, which is making people think a ton about their positions by like pointing out inadequacies in them or pointing them in the direction of like where it falls apart and giving them questions that are going to challenge them. And like, yeah, but when you open up with that right off the bat, it doesn't work as well as if you build people up to it. So because of that, because the difference between doing this well and failing at it is the buildup. The buildup is what I want to look at. How do you have an effective buildup with a person? How can you build enough rapport with them that you can then challenge those ideas later? Can someone spell his name in chat, please? Jesus Christ, Al. Yeah. I'm not fucking typing it out. Do you want a shorter video of that guy then? It's not that I want a shorter video. It's that I want one where I can do exactly that, where we have a very clear divide between the questioning phase and the kind of interrogation and challenging phase. And I want the questioning phase to be very indicative of what's going to happen later. And ideally, and this is like a cherry on top, I would like the person he's talking to have no idea of the challenge that's going to come later during the questioning phase. So I want them to be completely nice, build up a ton of rapport, and then get to the questioning and then get to the challenging phase. And we see a lot of the questions come up. That would be cool. Yeah, you literally just have to Google street epistemology. I don't know how you've managed to be so off with it. You can literally go on the Discord too, Sexy Owl. You just literally do !Discord, join the Discord, go to the vote suggestions channel. It's already in there. So I feel absolutely Oops. I mic'd it, dude. I just drooled. Yeah, I feel no sympathy for you because you can just look that up. You almost have a game show microphone. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I don't have a stand. I was thinking of bringing a stand this time, but given that there was no audio problems, having the mic like this, I don't know. I kind of like this. No bully? Well, I don't know. Saying I don't feel bad for you doesn't mean I'm bullying you. The epistemology videos I saw looked like a good antidote for debate broness, as in approaches to take away with. Yeah. Yeah, they are. But they don't fulfill you. How do I approach this topic? Yeah, they don't fulfill you. I think that some people, when they're debating, they want constant good feeling. They want to constantly feel like I am smarter, I am on top, I have the edge. And the longest time that you can keep that edge for, the better, right? And I think that that's how they get their fulfillment out of debates. They're not really interested, or they want to go hard as possible, and they want somebody else to do the same, and then they want to have their ideas challenged and tested in a real way. They want a real fight. Like, that's what Steven wants, I get the feeling. He wants somebody to come on who doesn't agree with him, but who is intelligent enough and will actually challenge those thoughts in his head. I think he secretly wants that out of somebody, right? So I think different people go for different things, but none of these can be accomplished or fulfilled by simply asking questions and playing it the way street epistemology does. Street epistemology is getting all of his enjoyment from understanding their positions and then walking them through it, right? I think he has like a two-pronged thing there. And that means that he can sit out the whole first half of the conversation, just ask questions, just put together an idea in his mind of what they believe. And he's happy with that. A lot of people are not, though. A lot of people, especially Twitch people, need entertainment. There's no entertainment to be found in just asking questions over and over and over again, unless you're into philosophy content, you know? So I just don't, I think they think it's boring. I don't think they find it fulfilling. So this is another thing where, like, is it good advice? Yeah. Is it practical advice? No, because nobody's going to do it, right? And that was the problem with the panels, is like, is the best advice to form an alliance very quickly with 2 or 3 other people and then dominate the conversation and the truth seeking and establish truths that lie outside of the bounds of what some of the other panelists believe, and then shun those panelists as doofuses that aren't being very reasonable? Yeah, like, that's probably the best way of going about it. Now, do people do that? No. Like, even if we were to maximize for your, like, marketing capability, I think your ability to navigate all 8 people or whatever in the panel and to get them all on your side more or less, or make the people that are against you look dumb, is something worthwhile to go for. And I just think you have to work with different people to make it happen. So I don't know. As he had no more debates to conquer. I feel like Destiny uses the Socratic method a lot in his debates, though not in the same way as Magna Bosco, not in the same way at all. Like, he uses the Socratic method as, like, a step 1 to getting... I'm not going to use a sex analogy. Fuck, how am I going to analogize this? Yeah, he doesn't use it in the same way. Let's leave it at that. He doesn't use the Socratic method in the same way. Sure, he asks questions, but he's not asking questions really to, like, figure out what you understand beyond figuring out how he can make a joke about it or figuring out how he can rail against you for it not making any sense. Steven is always looking for, like, inconsistencies and errors, and I think it comes off in the way that he's talking. And though the street epistemology guy might be as well, he doesn't snap that trap until way, way, way later, so it doesn't really come off in the back and forth questioning. Whereas with Steven, the second he sees something that's problematic, he'll write it down or he'll keep track of it, and then we're gonna have to face all of that almost immediately, and it gets hard for people to deal with. And then beyond that, how you're pursuing that incongruence is key. So, like, Steven will constantly push you, and he'll give you crazy analogies in the hopes that he'll make clear to you through the questioning itself how wrong you really are, right? And people's brains just don't work that way. They instead think you're playing a game with them. You're trying to make them look as bad as possible rather than trying to make their idea look bad, right? And yeah, so
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think it works the same when he uses it. I don't even think he's using it in the same way. It's to find a flaw in an argument and exploit in the system. Sure. Wait, is street epistemology a guy or exploring people's view or understanding? Dude, sexy Al, I'm gonna fucking mute you. You need to shut the fuck up, okay? I've had enough of your questions about that. Literally, go on the Discord, click on the fucking channel, click on the video, and you'll have it all answered. I'm getting pissed off. Normally, you make sense when you're chatting. Today, you're just like asking bonehead questions, bro.
When I mean a guy, is it the person, Matt guy? What's going on with that?
I don't know, bro. Really? All right, I'll explain it all because maybe there's like 10 other chatters that are seeing sexy I'll get roasted and they have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Street epistemology is its own thing, technically, okay? The channel or the series is also called Street Epistemology, okay? And then there is a guy who does the thing called Street Epistemology in a series called Street Epistemology, and that dude's name is the name that you would see if you went on the Discord and you actually looked it up, okay? So there you go. That's all that it is. That's all that it is. Like, chill the fuck out. How is that complicated? I don't understand. Anywho, I'm gonna start roasting people, bro. I need my coffee. Holy shit. Anywho, still confused? All right. I thought you didn't like philosophy. I don't like philosophy, not particularly. What other recommendations do we have here? The COVID bill finally reviewed this debate of Vosh and Mike. I did that. Okay. Anything else in here? I did the hippy dippy. A tanky troll destroys cuck done left. Ooh, this one only has like 2 upvotes, so I guess we're not doing a sock done left one. Do this on stream. Tier maker. Do you guys want to do a tier maker thing this week? We could do a tier maker thing. Cuck done left on Megalol. You like philosophy, but not academic philosophy? I wouldn't even say that. I don't think that's true. Sorry, Booksmarts. I'm watching from Village in Mexico. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. Whatever. Yeah, maybe we'll do a tier list too. Maybe we'll start some drama this week. So far we have a tier list. What was the other thing we were going to do this week? Let's see. We're going to do a tier list. We're going to do... Oh, the irrelevant versus fanatic thing. It's been a while. It's been like a week. But is it worth it? Irrelevant and fanatic? Do you guys want to see that? Drama feels good, man. Can you dab or nay-nay at the same time? Also, hi. No. I am watching in the slums of the Middle East. No internet. Okay, Mo. Wait, is philosophy a guy or philosophy? All right, I'm going to fucking... Let's hope I don't see you in a video game, Owl. That's all I'm going to say, bro. You better hope I don't run up on you in a video game. Tier list, the best mics from PA? No, bro. Have you ever given philosophy a chance? Yeah. And she hurt me. All academic philosophy in a nutshell. Is omnipanoptical deterrent the cardiovascular keeps the fire of Noam's fable? What? Okay, dude. Is philosophy a type of food? I think it's a dressing that you put on hamburgers. But yeah, we could look at irrelevant versus Mr. Fanatic. We could do that. I didn't really have anything else planned for the stream today. Is there anything else you guys wanted to do? I just wanted to give you an update on where I am, what I'm doing. Today's basically just going to be a big, long day of being on the computer in Notion and trying to type out fucking documents. That's all it's going to be. It's a horse dish. How can you go about your life without your axioms grounded? I don't know. Ask Vosh. Vosh seems to do it just fine. Unless grounding your axioms is tying them to the balloons that are keeping you off of the ground, in which case I suppose he has grounded his axioms. And if he's allowed to do that, can't I just do that? Can't I just ground my axioms to my floating house and just say I'm grounded? Like, I don't know. Can't I just tie it to my subjective opinion and then say no matter what, my subjective opinion is probably the closest I can get to being correct? Like, I don't know. That seems pretty pog. I'm down for that, dude. Axioms aren't grounded. They are the grounding. I don't know, dude. My foundation floated up with the house, dude. My axioms are up in the air with me, bro. I take them with me. Philosophy is the suntan lotion that needs to be put on those fire thighs when they hit the beach. Whenever Vosh talks about philosophy, I want to kill myself in Minecraft. Yikes. Well, that's not good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm okay with him talking about it when he's by himself. Like, it all seems coherent. But when he talks with other people, comes less so, dude. Like, when he talks to philosophers in particular, they're like, no, this is like Dante's Inferno. Have you ever heard of Dante's Inferno? Oh, okay. Oh my god, this is Sheriff's Monkey. Are you really coming at me with Sheriff's Monkey right now? Vosh, do you not understand that if you do it this way, you can't, like, because they're just like, oh shit, this motherfucker didn't read Gelato or whoever the fuck, dude. He doesn't know. And they try to tell him, and he's just, this is why I hate philosophers. You fucking people just like make shit up. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. If you're gonna talk philosophy, you have to know all the philosophy stuff. So that's kind of the difficult part. You have to know what all the terms mean. You have to know all the literature, because if philosophy is a study of thought, you need to have read the history of thought to kind of get where you should be. So debate bro people, in an effort to be the mostest correctest, like philosophy, and they like the things that system can provide for them, and how looking and observing their thought can help them improve it. But I think that they find very quickly that to be the mostest rightest and engage in philosophy is like a difficult thing to try to do, because to be the mostest rightest, you need to like know an awful lot, right? And you need to know not just what is the right answer, but why is the right answer, right? Why can't you pick this? And if you can't answer questions like, why can't it be this way? I don't think you really hold the position of the correctest answer. You just pick that because other people told you that was the mostest rightest, but that's not actually what you believe. And we're so far divorced from any of the way that you think about the world at this point, because you just learned what the correct opinion was and then plastered it over your existing system, that I don't even personally trust a lot of the streamers telling me that they believe in the philosophical systems that they do. Because when you tell me, oh yeah, I believe this because I was speaking with this philosopher and he was saying how that is the mostest correctest position, and how all the philosophers nowadays are basically between these two fields, and I personally think that this field is more based, so that's what I'm going with. Like, okay, but philosophy is a study of thought, and you're not really basing any of that off of your own thought. It doesn't sound like you read any of it. You just like listened to a dude that told you that all of it comes down to these two things, and then you picked one of them arbitrarily. That doesn't seem like a super great way of tackling philosophy. Like, I think maybe I'll find agreement from the philosopher people in the chat, because every philosopher person I've talked to has been like this. My understanding is that a lot of the fun for philosopher people is to do philosophy. They like thinking about this stuff. They like working through it on their own. The idea of being handed the correct answers and then choosing them based on what is the mostest rightest, I think would be unappealing and kind of defeats the purpose. Like, I think that a huge part of the fun is looking at how your own patterns of thought fit into what you're studying, right? And if you're not able to connect those two, or if you're building one system independent of the other, it feels like there's a giant disconnect there that I think kind of invalidates some of your positions, in my opinion. Like, if you can't map the correctest answer that you have to like your actual thought and explain to me how that's actually what's governing your behavior day to day or moment to moment, like, I don't know if I trust you very much. And even if you learn that in hindsight, in retrospect, after picking the position that is the mostest correctest, I don't know if you're just giving me this position to be the mostest correctest, or if you honest to God believe it. Because it could just be that you're post hoc rationalizing why you believe the thing that you think is the mostest correctest. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. How much to debate you? How much does Mike charge? Doesn't Mike charge like 500 subs or something? 100 gifted subs? Whatever Mike charges, take 75% of that's what I'll charge. Good philosophy that goes beyond the whole philosophy mentioned in pop culture stuff takes a lot of humility and time. Sorry about that. When I talk a lot, I have to spit. I get like goop in my throat. Disgusting. Mr. Smarts, who's Mike and how much is 75% of 50 subs? You keep asking questions like that, bro. I'm gonna nickname you Owl, okay? Don't ask me questions like that. Don't ask me fucking math questions, brother. This is book smarts, not fucking math smarts, bro. Get the fuck out of here. What do you charge for a Catboy tutor session? Ooh. I don't know how I would handle that. Like, what if somebody emailed me about tutoring and then they were like, I have a little request. Could you wear those Catboy ears? I wonder how much I would charge them. Probably a lot. Probably not $25 anymore, dude. I feel like there would be some other I feel like there would be an undercurrent to that conversation. I don't know if I would be cool with. So I would like to say 100 an hour. If you want to talk to me in Catboy ears, it's gonna be 100 an hour, dude, flat. And that's where I'm gonna set it at. And if you cross the line, dude, I'm gonna call my pimp, and he's gonna come in and he's gonna shut down our call, and he's gonna be like, "You fucked up. We're keeping the 100." I feel like a lot of politics streamers talk philosophy. Yeah. Well, because it's a natural thing, right? If we're thinking through ideas and we're thinking through how to think and we're dealing with morals and ethics and yada yada, we're going to need philosophy, right? So it makes sense to me that the debate people go to philosophy, but the problem is their philosophy on debate carries over to their philosophy of philosophy. And so it winds up being that they take this idea of being super correct about everything, and then they bring that attitude with them in a philosophy, and then that's what they're looking for. The mostest correctest thing that they possibly could, instead of actually learning about the field or anything. And then what happens is you get this person in a one-on-one call, and you explore some of these ideas with them in the terminology of philosophy, and they can't keep up. Because they didn't learn it that way. Because they read a Wikipedia article, or they bought a single book. They read through that one book or one Wikipedia article, maybe clicked a few other ones, and then they think they have enough to blow anybody out of the water. And it's like, sure, but I don't know. I don't want to roast people anymore because I think it's good that they go out and they do that. But I don't know. It feels disgusting to me, bruh. It feels like somebody took like a month of like Spanish tutoring, and then they went out and became like a professional Spanish tutor, and they pulled out like banner ads on like bus stop, benches and shit like that about how good of a Spanish tutor they are. And it's like, how are you tutoring people in Spanish if you only spent like a month learning the language? Do you just bring everybody up to like level 1 or 2 where you're at, and then you just like assume they won't need anything else? Like, what? Why do you do that? I don't understand. Mr. Smarts, what's your opinion on structuralism? I don't know, dude. I don't even know what that means. I'm pretty sure you misspelled what you meant to spell there. I'm pretty sure you don't mean to say structuralism, but if you do mean structuralism, I can't even use context clues to determine what the fuck that would be about, so I can't even fake it, City. I don't know. Structuralism? Yeah, I have no idea. Bookfucker taking a page out of Melina's book. What do you mean? I'm fully clothed, dude. I have no skin. I literally just have my hands and my face. What do you mean? I could be much more like Melina. Do you want me to be more like Melina? There's a store down the street. I could buy some nice things and we could start looking like Melina, dude. But I'm not sure I'm at that point yet. I think I would need more subs for that. Structuralism is a less cool version of post-structuralism. Interesting. And it's statements like that fucking people hold on to, and then I don't know. Are you saying Melina isn't fully clothed? Whoa. That's not what I said at all, okay? Don't twist my words. You're still sexier. Damn, don't roast Melina in here, bro. Don't go comparing me to other streamers, bro. You're going to make other streamers feel bad. Day 1, Booksmarts. If you pay me $25 an hour, I'll tutor you. Day 1,000, Booksmarts. I'll wear a cat suit and critique your cat sounds for $400 an hour. This is kind of sexist. Is it? I literally just said I could dress like her. I don't know. You guys want me to dress like her? It's an objective fact that There's a different way that she dresses compared to how I dress, and I most certainly could dress like her if I wanted to. And if you think that's weird, actually, I think that you have a problem. Matter of fact, I think that you're being weird on me. Why can't I wear fishnets and short shorts and, you know, that kind of stuff? Why can't I wear that? And why is it bad that I point that out, bro? I don't know. Are you squad Wing right now? Is that what you're doing? I see you, Annie. I see you, Annie. Yo, why do you guys call him? It's because Steven called me that at some point. Showing hands. That's for the Catboy stream, I presume. Yeah, it is for the Catboy stream, dude. I got a whole closet full of that. Let him explore his gender. That's what I'm saying, bro. Y'all aren't letting me explore. I'm fucking getting mad pissed at this, dude. I'm fitting to fucking type up a twit longer about you. Matter of fact, why is it bad for someone at level 2 Spanish to try to take people from level 0 Spanish to their level? Isn't that literally when students help each other? Yeah, Annie, but how do I respond to you? I'm going to ignore you, Annie, because I think you're trolling. I'm not even going to respond to it. I'm not even going to fucking create a response to such a question. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I think Annie's trying to troll me today. Oh, why are my regular chatters starting to troll me? Annie's trolling me. The super owl person who's made it to the last few is starting to troll me. What is going on? What did I do to deserve this, God? Fuck. If Book is dressing like Melina, are we going to get a Mikasa cosplay stream? I would dress like Mikasa. Wait, did Melina dress up as Mikasa? Oh, she totally did. This is cool. This is awesome. I didn't know about this. This is cool. Quick, time for research. Yeah, I know. I got the pics, too. I'm good. Okay. You dong the mic again? Whoops. Did I? You can hear me, I'm pretty sure. Ow, this is... I was like, dude, my ass is like literally on fire. What is going on? That's what's going on, dude. This is burning. I have to like put this over here. Whew. False alarm. Is this the video with the boys? Damn, this is so cool. Booksmarts it for later. Yeah, dude. Muted? Really? There's no way. No, I'm not muted. You're full of it. Although I do need to turn the Fire Force thing off. Wait, have I been on this page the whole time? Whoops. I meant to be on the other one. Just chatting. I thought it was full screen this whole time. Lamau. My bad, please forgive me. Not muted. Ah, okay. So everybody's trolling me today. I see. I see how it is. Okay. Okay. Now I know. Now I know everybody's kind of off of my team today. You know, I'm kind of feeling like you looking sexy today. Thanks, dude. I'm kind of feeling like you guys are a little too trolly today. Dude, I'm amazed that those inline power supplies haven't burned someone's house down yet. I mean, they might hear, dude. They might hear. Yeah, I have no idea.
Breathtaking. I shall call him
Hello?
Mini-Me.
Is it working now? I'm sorry we cut out. I think Vosh sent VGG to Haxum. I think not. I think I just fucked it up. We back? Hi. Saved. Okay, cool. Thanks Mocrack for
Beats for internet matter.
Oh my god, Mocrack, thank you so much. Oh my god, Mocrack. Maybe you bag. Don't speak for me. Okay. Refresh your page then. I like how this one mad silver Chad in the chat is just like, it's not working for me. Fuck you guys. Speak for your damn self. Fucking DM Book. Tell him to fucking hack into my computer, remote access in, and fucking refresh the page for me, dude. I'm too much of a dumb fuck to figure it out. Okay, silver Chad. Oh, he's back. Yeah, I am. That's right now. Did you just learn that word today? Did you read a Wikipedia article recently? I'm starting to get a feeling y'all read some Wikipedia articles on structuralism, because I know you're not experts in it, and I know you didn't just look that shit up on your own. What streamer was talking about structuralism recently? Word of the day. That's what I'm feeling like, bro. Bad faith book at it again. I'm always bad faith, bro. That's what I do. Reading the definition is supererogatory. True. Reading the book is also supererogatory. I think the only expectation is that you listen to your favorite streamer talk about it, and that's it, honestly. I think that's where the bar is at now. Let's see. I love this little thing, but I don't think it's working, so rip. I'm something of a dumb fuck myself. Okay. Read about sewer structuralism? Oh, you heard the beep. Okay, cool. Well, at least you can hear something. Watching books is super eroticatory? Yikes. Yeah, there was some beeping. God, it's beautiful, dude. I wish I could stream over there. I wish I could stream just like looking out at the ocean, because where I'm at, oh, I can. Oh, I'm in love. It's so nice here. Booksmarts is reversing. Yeah, I'm moving this dump truck ass. Here, I kind of want to be in a sexy position. My back is starting to hurt. Can I move you guys to a sexy position? The bottom of this table is totally set up to like catch all my cables and shit. This isn't a very flattering angle. Make sure my ass and my coochie aren't hanging out. Hi. Hello. I'm gonna open back up my chat so I can see you guys. What is Bookfucker doing? Is Mexico? It is Mexico, dude. Have you ever gotten head so good you cried? What kind of question is that? No? I'm gonna go with a no on that one, dude. I've never cried. Do you think it's a bad idea to just... I mean, my eyes might have watered. Do you think it's a bad idea to just read a whole bunch of wiki articles about a subject to get an understanding? Yes. Because there are things that the wiki won't tell you that will immediately become apparent reading even just like a few sources on a topic. So, for instance, let's say that I always go back to this, but it's because it's easy and I know there's a lot of papers out there for it, so you guys can just read about it. In nursing, let's say you want to learn about healthcare associated infections. So somebody goes to the hospital, okay, and they get an infection because of the care that you gave them. So like, let's say somebody was in a bed and you didn't wipe all the moisture off of their skin regularly enough and they develop a rash. Or let's say you didn't put in an IV correctly and now a person has an infection. Something like this. So if I wanted to learn about that and I go to the wiki page and it tells me the definition very helpfully, it tells me some key studies about it. But what it won't tell me, for instance, is how people are talking about it in the modern day. What are they worried about? What are the top procedures for reducing it? And what have we learned about? It won't tell me that. I think you would actually get more out of reading a recent paper on a subject and going to the literature section and reading through a good amount of history on the topic than you would being on Wiki and looking at it on Wiki. Wiki gives you an overview of everything. It gives you an overview of the people, the events, the dates, the history over time. But what Wiki misses out on are tons and tons and tons of practical details, things that are going to make it helpful for you to use this information in your actual life. So would a nurse get a lot out of looking up healthcare associated infections on Wikipedia? Maybe, but will they get anything out of it that's going to help them write papers or to be a professional in the field? No, not really, because they would get 10 times more just reading 2 or 3 recent articles on it and just jumping to the lit review section and reading the literature about the history of the thing or reading the literature about the most recent history of the thing than they would by going on Wikipedia. So no, I think I think a good source and a good paper and reading the different sections of it is actually way more helpful than going on Wikipedia. Like, I've had a much better experience finding, for instance, a student's master paper where they did a giant, like, meta review of a bunch of different studies, and then they wrote about the history of how the idea developed over time. I find that that is 10 times more valuable than any Wikipedia article on the topic. So no, I would say that Wikipedia is just something everybody knows to look to, but it's not good in terms of cliff notes on a topic. I'd say what's good in terms of cliff notes on a topic for me doing professional essays was finding a good student paper that outlines the history of something with a lot of sources. Because the other thing is, part of what makes Wikipedia valuable if you're actually a power user and you use it for what it's meant to is the sourcing, right? Which is so. Once you start paying attention to the sourcing, you realize it's not always out there. And if it is, sometimes you go to the sources, they don't even say what the quote is meant to say, or they're really surface level. And it's like, it has the quoted information, but it gives me no reason to believe that that's even the truth or where it came from or anything else. So, you know, whereas when you go into a paper that had to be approved by a bunch of teachers, not just editors on the Wikipedia website, they're much more stringent about what can be included and what narratives make sense. And are the quotes that you're giving actually indicative of the article? Those things are much more likely to be checked off of Wikipedia by parents, or not by parents, sorry, by professors. So, no, I mean, I personally just prefer like master's papers or theses on the topic by students, because those are checked by teachers, and then they tend to be a good place to start for research, because then I can look at all their sources and all of it tends to make sense when you actually audit it. I agree. I agree. Historia. Blah. I don't know that word, dude. I'm gonna ignore it. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, Master Smarts. No more simping. Oh, okay. What do you think is a good source of free knowledge then, or where to find those resources? You just Google it. Go to Google Scholar and look up whatever you want to learn. I don't know. Just use Google Scholar. I don't know. This is my source. The main page of Wikipedia. Looking at the sources on Wikipedia is usually pretty good, but yeah, more people should know about Google Scholar. I wouldn't say it's pretty good. I wouldn't even say usually pretty good. You might only be checking on like really popular Wikipedia pages, but if you use Wikipedia for any kind of research in like your field, I don't see how you're saying it's usually pretty good. Usually pretty good compared to what, Arthur? Like, your name says Arthur Dentist. Maybe in dentistry, Wikipedia is as good as everything else, but in my experience, in business, in psychology, in nursing, in education, Wikipedia is worse for all of the fields that I've covered. So I don't know, maybe for dentists, Wikipedia is pretty pog, but admittedly, I'm mostly talking about math. Okay. Yeah, I deal with literally no math. So maybe Wikipedia is good for math. Wikipedia is good compared to guessing. Why do people have me? It's good compared to BSing. It's good compared to booksmartsing, dude. Yeah, maybe Wikipedia is better than BSing or just making stuff up. But yeah, I don't feel like the sources are generally very good. For math, maybe. But for math, I also feel like you're constrained. Like, if you wanted to write a Wikipedia article on math, you would have to go through all the different math people in their revolutionary papers on the subject. So I don't know. I don't work in math, so I have no idea, but it makes sense to me logically in my brain for some reason that the math papers would be better because of how math and research in mathematics works. But yeah, for other things, no, not at all. Like, especially not for psychology, because psychology changes like year to year. Like, I find that there's trends that are set, and then published work that comes out after these trends are set are like, I don't know, reflective of it. You start to see stuff repeat. You start to notice that like people are talking different, and it's not picked up on the way that Wikipedia talks about everything. So it's, I don't know. Then again, most of the writing I've done for psychology has been behavioral or educational in nature. And for behavioral, that is something that over the last like 10 years has been worked on a ton. We figured out that you could have behavioral treatments for everything from anxiety to depression to attention deficit disorders. And for people with attention deficit disorders, one of what may be the only like lasting way of like helping those people deal with that deficit disorder is to do behavioral psych, and is to give them behavioral therapies that are going to help them like throughout life. And whether that's like socialization measures in their children to help them learn about social rules and how to follow them and how to maintain, or it's about how to have your focus in school, or how to reestablish your focus, or how to ground yourself, or, you know, all these different things. We're finding that behavioral psych is offering wonderful solutions to all of it, whether that's by CBT, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, and I'm not talking about Yoda torture. I'm talking about the real CBT. Although depending on who you are, maybe the real CBT is that CBT, but I'm talking about a different kind of CBT. Anywho, yeah, I'm kind of ranting at this point. Wikipedia, good articles. Will watching Twitch when I should be working cure my ADD? Probably not. Math is good math is KL math is God. I saw the face of God and it was numbers. Okay, get off this site right now. This is your wake up call. Uh-oh, what did that person say? Oh, the watching Twitch. Yeah, honestly, okay, here we go. I'm going into ignore what I'm about to say, okay? Because it's not the truth. It's not researched. I don't think. If there is research, let me know. I honestly think, this is my opinion, I honestly think the way that we consume stuff on the internet and the way that we diagnose ADD or ADHD, because I'm pretty sure all we do is ADHD now, or ADHD fell into ADD, or one or the other. I think the way that we diagnose it, all of those symptoms I could easily create in a person if I change the way that they consumed online content. The way that you consume online content as a power user, as somebody who's constantly clicking on YouTube or constantly scrolling on Twitter, or constantly, like, even Twitch streamers, like, you're streaming the whole time and you're constantly trying to be funny, and then you're done, and then you got to review the VOD, and then you got to push all this, like, and you got to keep up with everything. Like, I really think that all of that can create the symptoms of an attention deficit disorder. And I really think that getting into the habit of dealing with online stuff in the way that is most efficient for consuming online content leads to habits of the mind that are going to really hamper your ability to perform outside of the internet, right? And I wonder if, like, human brains just aren't super great at switching gears between this, like, online mentality of consuming content like that, and then, like, you know, trying to understand people in the real world, or going through actual tasks and trying to complete them, or working on anything that has a different, like, pace of completion. And I think that, like, maybe that might be part of the problem here, but that's just like a way big guess. Power users. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Haven't had the time to drop by the stream in a bit. Good to see all of you. Yeah, hi, P squared. Are you Mexican? Yeah. If you live in North America over the age of 23 and are watching this stream right now, then something is wrong. Okay. They just give that diagnosis to problematic kids and it hangs over them through life. I mean, there's some of that, but here's the problem is, when you say that, you're kind of taking, like, a meta level, like, jab at everything, but you're not really, like, understanding how anything works. So if you say, oh, they're only using ADD to, like, label problematic kids and that follows them their entire life, like, maybe. I mean, how we diagnose everybody is based on symptoms, right? If you are having a problem, which doing bad in school when you're a student and literally your only job in your entire life is to do good at school, if you're not able to accomplish that, that is a problem. There's something going on. And then if we figure out that you check all the boxes for having a deficit in your, you know, attentional skills, and you can't stay attent, you can't keep up with tasks, you can't, you know, do those sorts of things, then that's how you're diagnosed. So I don't think it's just labeling problem children this. The child had a problem. that problem could not be solved through like normal means of discipline at the school. And so you went above and beyond that to see if there's a further problem. And then if you meet the criteria for ADD or ADHD at the time that those both were being diagnosed, then yeah, you fit it. I don't think that's labeling problematic kids that. I mean, you could argue that all of the symptoms used in that criteria are symptoms of what you would call a problematic kid, and therefore you're going to get problematic kids coming in and being diagnosed as that thing. But I think to just say that you're labeling problematic kids, that is like not super helpful. Like I think a more helpful statement would be like, it seems like all the criteria of ADHD perfectly like mirrors like the kind of behavior of like a kid who's just not doing well in school or something like that. But even then, like, are they not doing well because they have an attention deficit disorder? Because if they are, then you kind of just look like an asshole, right? Because that is literally the cause of them being a bad kid. But if the deficit disorder thing doesn't exist and instead it's just like a pattern of thought that you get stuck into and these kids are just stuck in, like, I don't know. It really depends on how you want to look at it. Because psychology is such a weird thing where you're just labeling patterns of behavior. Because I come from behavioral psychology, this is my personal opinion. We're labeling like patterns of behavior, patterns of thought, and then we're going off of that. There's like other mental disorders that don't work that way, like schizophrenic, but that's put in its whole own class for a reason. So I don't know. I think a lot of things like anxiety and depression and ADD or ADHD really seem to come from like pattern of thought and like how are you handling a pattern of thought? Because let's say ADD and ADHD are actually your brain is just moving really, really fast. Well, I mean, if you hone that in and you made sure that you actually like accomplish tasks and you got them done, do you really have ADD? Do you really have a disorder if you're able to like complete all the tasks in your life without problem? Like, does it matter how you execute those tasks? Because if it doesn't, then we could easily get rid of it. You could teach people coping strategies on dealing with their brain moving very, very quickly and make sure that they're still putting energy into all these different buckets of life that they need to, that they're paying all their bills, that they're doing okay at work, you know, that they're managing their money well. And if they can live a normal life, then from my perspective, they don't have a disorder anymore, right? Maybe their brain just works really, really fast and they need to work around it. That's kind of the world that I would like to be in, is like, oh, you have this thing with your brain where it like behaves this way. And here's the way that you get around that, right? Like, oh, okay, you have bad grades and stuff. You have bad grades because you're like doing this. If you didn't do that and you did this and like worked around it in this way, maybe that would be helpful to you. But man, it's so tough to talk about psych stuff. I don't know. Mr. Crack, sorry. Mr. Children, he became famous when he completed a meta-analysis of this. You remind me of Alibrel with the way you're presenting yourself. What? What are you talking about? What makes you happy? What makes me happy? Like, what makes you happy? I mean, there's plenty of stuff that makes me happy, bro. I don't want to be cringe and go through all of it. What makes you happy? Let's pick something PG. Just arrived. What up with the title? Oh, we're in Mexico today, so that's what's up with the title. And I was testing the stream, so I just figured that seemed like a good way to include both of those things in the same title. Maybe it's a problem with the educational system and not the children. Oh, I don't think that's I mean, you could fix the educational system, but I think that's a separate problem from people having like mental disorders, honestly. I think it's very clear that there is something called like ADD, whether that's a pattern of thought or like an actual like chemical imbalance in the executive center of the brain or something. I don't really know. Like, I don't know how much of the brain stuff that we see is actually just a result of like you willing yourself to think certain ways either. I'm still not super convinced on that. Like, I wonder if you zen somebody out, if you like got them to meditate on a mountain and not think about fucking anything, if you could like reset their brain, and then just like they would fall into certain patterns of thinking where they would stress themselves out and then they immediately start meeting all the criteria for these deficit things again. Like, I wonder if it's just like how your brain is coping with like day-to-day asks of it, right? Like, are you able to handle multiple projects at the same time? Are you able to like navigate in your mind the different things that you have to do at once? Are you able to like maintain focus on something in lieu of something else? Like, maybe these are just like separate abilities that people need to train, and some people have a harder time with them than other people, right? Like, I don't know. And we haven't thought about it this way, like, for a long, long time. So that's why I like the behavioral stuff, because if we're diagnosing everybody based on behaviors, why doesn't our therapies come from behaviors? Like, if we list the number of symptoms that we get from people's behavior, from the way they engage with the world or the way they're telling us they think, why don't we create therapies that are aimed at changing those, or like dealing with them if they seem to be like an immutable fact? I don't know. Stress management. Yeah, like that. Like, I wonder if kids learn stress management really early on, or if they got extra help with like planners and stuff or whatever. Like, I wonder if we'd have as many kids that end up diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. Like, I wonder what aspect of it is that. I mean, I've met people who have made me certain that there is something with the executive function of the brain, and some people very clearly have like an issue with the executive function of their brain, and they're all over the place. But there's a lot of people that have told me they have this, and again, through like deep questioning, it sounds to me like they just don't have good patterns of like handling things or good like coping strategies for life. And so they just get buried in shit. And then they think that they have a disorder, and that's the whole reason that everything in their life is shitty, or they can't focus, or they can't do this, or they can't do that. When the reality is they keep putting themselves into situations that are going to cause those symptoms to arise. So for instance, let's say that every time that you needed to study for a class, you smoked weed. Okay? You smoked weed. And then you fail the tests. And then every time you study, if you don't smoke, you're constantly fighting this uphill urge to go and smoke, right? And then all of a sudden it feels like, damn, I can't focus on anything. All I can think about is smoking. Well, it's not that I want to smoke. It's that I have ADD. I can't maintain focus on anything. My brain just goes everywhere. I want to watch YouTube. I want to smoke. I want to, when in reality, it's probably the smoking that is the problem. And this is something that you see in clinical psych a lot, which is one of the first things that you ask people: are you on anything? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing this? Okay, well, even if we want to treat you, like let's say you come in with depression or something, or you come in with ADD and we want to give you like something to help with that, some kind of medication, we have to have you quit weed and stuff, like, because we don't know how these things are going to interact. We don't know how much one is causing the other, like how much of the weed is causing some of your symptoms. So we have to have you quit that before we're going to give you other stuff, right? And there's a lot of people that in the process of quitting these things or needing to curb them, they stop going to therapy. They stop seeking it out. Things kind of improve for them because it didn't end up being that they had some disorder. It ended up being that they were choosing to do other things in their life that are like having a detrimental impact on their mental well-being. And that's another reason why no matter what you do, talk therapy is helpful, because it's another place where we can unveil these things like, okay, your friends are assholes to you all the time and you study with your friends. Interesting. Have you ever tried studying alone? Like, how does that go? Like, it could be a million things in your environment impacting these things. So I think it's important to take a more holistic picture and go based on that. I think some people are fucking themselves in life, and like, they probably need to approach it that way. I hope you know where that's from. What is? I think we're habitual creatures. It's hard to drop bad habits and replace it with better ones. I mean, I think it is hard, obviously, but like, yeah, I don't. And like when I'm saying, killer, building on what you're saying in chat, I'm saying like, what if these habits that people are forming are like what is causing like this diagnosis that we're giving them? Like, what if it is like some of these habitual ways of thinking or habitual ways of handling things that are leading to like the problems in their life, and then we're labeling them as having some giant disorder when the reality is that they're like 2 habit changes away from like living a fulfilling life and not meeting any of the criteria for some of these things. Like, for instance, if you have something in your life that is depressing you, it's going to impact your ability to do a million other things. Like, let's say you lived at home with somebody that beat you and abused you. Okay? How is your schoolwork going to look? Probably not great. Are you going to make it to work every day? I don't know. Are you? Like, how about your relationships with your friends? How are those going to go? Can you always hang out with them? What's going on with that? How is one impacting the other? And I wonder, like, how much of people's lives are kind of fucked because of, like, a handful of things. Like, I think everybody's like this, if I'm being quite honest, that if I could look at your life omnipotently and I can make like 5 changes and they would for sure stick, I guarantee you I could improve your life by like 60% at the very least, right? I think this is the case for a lot of people. But like you said, it's hard. It's really, really hard to change a habit that you've kind of gotten stuck into. And so that's why you need help through therapists and stuff. But yeah, I like... It sounds very pie in the sky, but I really do think that's the problem for a lot of people, is they just have like a few things in their life that they just swapped around. It wouldn't be that big of a problem. Like, what if you're trying to be a master mathematician and whatever, but you suck ass at math and you actually have ADD? Like, maybe that's not the best position for you to be in. Maybe if instead of planning your whole life around doing something, which is a constant uphill battle for you, you pick something practical and within your wheelhouse, if you would have a much better life. Like little things like this, I wonder. Damn, this whole section feels like you're describing me. It feels weird, man. Damn. Well, there you go. Go fix your shit. Figure out the handful of things you have to change, and instead of focusing your life on how other things are fucking it up, focus on those 5 things and changing them. Yeah, I feel that. I think over-prescribing people on ideas or drugs causes enough people to stay stuck. Yeah. Well, it also helps people fill in different things on this list. So, like, let's say everybody has a list of 5 things that are fucked that they need to change. Well, if one of those things that are fucked that needs to change gets swapped out with, like, oh, I have ADD. It sure would be nice if I didn't have ADD. I wonder how many people just, like, throw their hands up and give up, you know? I wonder how many people don't even seek out behavioral therapy because the diagnosis alone is enough for them to like wallow in it. Like I wonder about that too. Like I see a lot of people who have active medication and stuff for their deficit disorder, their attention disorder, but then they're not doing anything in terms of like behavioral stuff. Like I'll ask like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, are you doing anything for like your studying to help? Like, did they give you any exercises to do at home? Are you doing mindfulness? Like, what else are you up to? Oh, nothing. I just take the pill and then I'm good. Like, And to that person, it reaffirms in them the idea that they have this thing, and that's one of the top 5 problems in their life, right? Because they were able to solve it with a drug. And that's the other thing is like, if you take a pill that cures you, that gets rid of the problems that you perceive, then it would seem that you definitely have the diagnosis because the pill fixed you, right? It reaffirms the diagnosis, and it reaffirms in your mind that it's just this one crippling little flaw that you could fix with a pill that's ruining, you know, a good chunk of your life. And it's like, I wonder though, like, how good are you at gauging your ability when you're on the pill though? Like, are you really performing like significantly better on the pill? How good would you be if you mixed the pill with behavioral training? Or how much more fulfilling would it be in your personal life and in your heart of hearts if you didn't have to take the pill anymore, and if you had enough behavioral strategies to counteract the effects of your disorder, right? Like, how much better would person A feel who just does behavioral stuff, just does exercises to keep their ADD under control and they live a fine life, versus person B who takes a pill and gets all the same benefits? Like, I would like to think that person A gets a lot more out of that. And I think that most of the people on medication, if we could eventually switch them over to be person A, to be somebody who's supported not by medication, but through like actual change in their life and behavioral practices, I think that's probably preferable. But there are a lot of people whom I've argued with that argue exactly the opposite. They would much prefer the pill. So yeah, I don't know. I struggle with it. And I struggle with explaining like to them why it's better to just be able to control everything on your own. Like, it's difficult to sell somebody on like the personal like gratification that they would feel being able to control their own behavior, and how much that would make them start to like rethink their diagnosis as well. Like, if I was born lacking like a development in my executive, function of my brain, or if the executive function or area of my brain is like hampered in some way, wouldn't it be really cool if I found a natural process to like counteract that? That would be awesome. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm kind of, why not both? Well, that's what I'm saying is like, yeah, you can have both, but I would think that once you get started on medication, it's about working towards like behavioral solutions to that. This is something I saw in my brother who has ADHD. Is as he was coming into adulthood, we were constantly telling him, and the doctors are constantly telling him, like, it's not ideal that you take this medication forever. We should be working this entire time on forming good habits so you don't have to take this on into college or on into adulthood. Sure, some people do, and there are some people who are adults that still take this, and there are some people who are adults that discover they have this and start taking it way later.
That book fucker.
The ideal is to take you off of the medication and to have you control your own behavior without the need for it, because there are a million other problems. What happens if you can't afford your pills in America? What happens if you run out of your prescription? Like, my brother was so unbelievably difficult to handle on the days where he would forget to take a pill, and his body would start falling apart because it was so used to having that medication all the time that it's like, Jesus Christ, like, yeah, we probably do want to get you to a point where you can stop taking these pills and be okay, because it's kind of fucked right now if you forget them, or that you're in the entirety of your personality is dependent on this one thing. It's kind of rough. Steve Crowder's cousin? Who's Steve Crowder's cousin? Some things are obviously caused by outside factors that you have little to no control over. It's just staying in the, well, I'm stuck because of X, and not trying to new things to get out of it. Maybe. Focus is based on your brain/mind. Like, you can't behavior your way to focus. You do. You do, though. Mo, this is the problem, is that people think things like what you just posted, which is just simply not true, that you need the right neuromodulation. Like, no, we don't know this. And we don't, like, this clearly is not true, because there are people that respond to behavioral therapy and they gain all the same benefits that somebody that's taking medication does. So, no, it's not true at all. And, like, when somebody injures any other part of their body, part of getting them back up and running is getting them on a course of physical therapy so that they can learn to reuse that part of their body, and they can retrain it to do what it ought to do after an injury. I think if you have this thing with your brain, we should help you throughout your life learn ways of working around that, right? Like, okay, so maybe you really do have, like, at a physical level issues with focus, right? There are tricks, though, that we can teach you at a level beyond just the physical one to deal with that, to handle it, right? So what? You take a little bit more time than other people to make a decision. Or so what? You're viewing 5 things in your brain at one time. That doesn't mean that you're broken. It means that we need to come up with clever and intuitive ways of, like, dealing with that, maybe this doesn't hamper our decision-making process. Maybe this means we can consider multiple variables at once, right? Like, we want to get you in the kind of mindset of using that to your advantage even at certain points, right? And the only way to do that is to make you comfortable with the disability and how it affects you, and then build around that. So, no, I completely disagree with this, like, neuromodulator, I'm fucked thing. Like, no, because at some level you have free will, and at some level you have the ability to come up with strategies that can help you cope. So, nah, that doesn't make any sense, brother. I'm sorry. Like, you still have to work on the other half of it, which is your control over your body and your mind. Like, you have to work over your on your will and stuff. Like, I don't know. Even if we give you medication, like, it doesn't completely remove the problem. Like, you still have that problem there, and you still have to, like, work around it, right? You still have to see when it comes up. Like, here's a good example of this. The pill will never help you, will never completely solve social interactions for you. One big problem that children that grew up with ADD or ADHD, particularly when it's undiagnosed, is that they don't learn social stuff in the way that they're supposed to. So a lot of kids that have ADD or ADHD are maladapted socially, because either, like, teachers gave them a ton of shit because they couldn't focus, or they were bad kids. They have volume control issues, and they're in groups of people. They fidget a lot, and it gives, like, weird signals to people. they're not paying attention to how other people around them are feeling. They're not constantly monitoring for that because their brain, again, is focused on other shit. So the pill is never going to help you focus on the right social cues. The pill is never going to give you the solution to how to behave in every social circumstance. The pill is not going to help you recognize how loud you're being. These are things you have to fix through behavioral stuff, right? These are aspects of your life that aren't going to be improved with just the pill. And I think when you become so focused on pills and physicalities and handicaps and things like this, you're kind of losing sight of the things that you are in control of and you can fix. So thank you for the gifted subs. I appreciate it, Costas. Pog. Big Pog. But yeah, so like, no, I don't think it's helpful to just look at neuromodulators because there's a huge number of problems that are literally at the level of like your interaction with the world and not at the level of like the brain inside of your head. So, yeah. Why go through all that trouble when we can further develop medication research to reduce the downsides? It's not about downsides though. It's about like, what are you saying? Like, do you realize that therapy is like a medication? Like you're using therapy to solve these things? Like, I think that's the problem I'm having with you guys. Like, you need to realize that pills and stuff are treatments just as much as a therapy is a treatment, right? And they're treating different things. Like, we can give you a better baseline at a physical level with your brain in terms of capacity for focus. Thanks for all that. We can give you better capacity for focus if we give you medication. And that means that instead of being level 2 focus, now you're level 20. Everybody else is still level 100, but maybe you can improve, or maybe you get up to like level 80. Dope. Now you can use that level 80 focus during our therapy sessions, right? Like, one is meant to improve the other. Like, I have more of your attention if you're medicated when I'm talking to you. In the same way that, like, no, I'm not going to make this comparison. But yeah, basically, if I can improve your attention, I can use that to my benefit during my therapy. So you can pay more attention to the techniques I'm telling you. You can be more aware of them in real time. And that way, eventually, when you're not on medication, should you choose, then you'll still have all these benefits. Because while you were medicated, you learned how to do all these things properly and you made a habit out of them. How to maintain your volume control, how to recognize your place in social scenarios, how to focus on tasks, how to, create a calendar and manage your life. Things like this, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's nice that you're medicated while we're doing all that so we can help you through it. But there's a whole dimension to this that's never, ever going to be solved by medication. We need therapies to help you get past them. We need that as a form of treatment to get you to get better at them. No pill I'm going to give you is going to teach you how to interact socially. You have to learn that over time. And beyond just learning it, because it's not a thing of knowledge, it's a thing of practice. You have to make good habits, right? And you have to engage in them regularly. Those things aren't going to be solved with medication. I also feel like a lot of people just don't have a plan for what they want to do. To borrow from Destiny, it seems whenever I ask people who have a lot of issues, whenever I ask them what they want in life, they give me an answer. But then whenever I ask 2 more questions about it, they seem to not be sure, or to have contradictory goals. Saw good peeps. Booksmarts is on some pretty good stuff. Yo, Books, what's up? How come you're at a different spot every stream? Because I move around. I move houses a lot. Are we talking about improving standardized testing? Nope. Wait, you're a therapist? No. I was thinking that you were referring that behavioral strategies can be used for anything, which your further explanation, I get you. But, like, there are more baseline biologically non-negotiable things you need to have to be able to focus. Oh, my God. Why is this written like this, Mo? Having a good night's sleep, aware, temperature, etc. And these things can be whatever your behavioral strategies can accomplish. Yeah, it's just your last thing about medication seemed like you just think shit's fucked. And, like, it's not helpful to us to think about it like that at all either. Like, okay, so we think that there are some problems with the brain and we can give you medication for it, but we can't go in and we can't fix all that shit. So instead, we need to operate on the level that indicated to us that there may be a problem with the brain in the first place, which is your behaviors. Like we don't look at somebody and we knew they had a problem just by looking at their brain, like even in the brain scans of people, you needed extra context that they had problems, that they had seen a therapist, and that they have these behaviors to confirm that the brain had any problem with the executive function at all. And I think that, like, oh God, I don't want to get into a big fight with neuroscientists, but this is part of my problem with them is, like, No, you're operating like I do in reviews, where you already know what the right conclusion is and you're backwards reasoning from there. So your science is lucky. Like, yeah, like you already knew that they had a diagnosis for ADD before looking at the brains, but you can't just look at a bunch of brains and determine which ones have ADD. You need more to it than that. And, you know, I think that, like, that's kind of my problem with it, is like we need these behavioral things no matter what to diagnose them. Maybe we get a brain scan and maybe it does look like you have problems in the executive function or the executive part of the brain, but not everybody with ADD even has that, right? And that's because we start with the behavioral indicators to diagnose you. We don't really look at a scan of your brain. So no matter what, we're always starting from a place of behaviors. That's why I start from a place of behaviors. But again, what did I read and write about? Behavioral psychology. So that's always where I focus, is like, okay, well, if we're always diagnosing you based on behaviors, maybe that's like a helpful square one. And the neuropsych is great for medications and stuff like that, because it can tell us what's working, how it's working. It gives us a window into that. But we don't understand it well enough to like completely use that to override our understanding of human behavior or to create like one-to-one connections. So I think like, well, it's helpful to know all that. Sure. I don't think it gives us any like super practical solutions to something like ADD. Like it seems like that's still something that needs to be almost entirely solved through behavioral stuff, because many of the problems are still going to be behavioral, even if we fix like the chemical imbalance part that's like causing you to act up, right? Because even then, even if I bring you back to like what would be considered like a neurotypical brain or neurotypical like processing, you're still going to have other problems. You're still going to have those social problems. You're still going to have time management problems. You're still going to have scheduling problems. You're still going to have work ethic problems. You're still going to have all of these other things, which you're never, ever going to solve with the pills. So I think it's just helpful to focus on behaviors and stuff. Hey, Booksmarts, in your research, did you read anything on cognitive behavioral therapy? Oh, you mean cock and ball torture? I certainly did. Hey, Bick, do you plan on checking out the debate Steven had with the Brenton Langle guy? Probably not. People recommended it, but other people are telling me it's a giant shit show, so I don't know. Maybe. Maybe if I need money, I'll consider it. If you pay me money. Sociology and psychology were my favorite subjects in college. Cool. What are we talking about? You've been here the whole time, City. We're talking about, like, I think that behavioral solutions and behavioral therapies are probably the best way of helping people through things like anxiety, depression, and problems you're having with your ADD. I think those are going to help you a lot. And so I was talking about how maybe some of this medication-focused stuff can leave people feeling not helped. That guy talked for like 90% of the debate. I'm not very interested in him as much as I'm Steven. You keen on doing any more analysis on David Pakman? Yeah, what debates does he do? Are there any other ones? I watched the Nazi one. But I haven't seen any of his other ones. I really want Hug, by the way. Oh, well, that sucks, dude. I was always wondering, what's your degree? I don't have a degree, dude. Am I allowed to coom? No. It was kind of a shit show, but I think Steven did a really admirable job of keeping us cool. That's good. That's good. That guy talked a lot, though. I don't know, bro. Deepak is cool. His chat is super soy, though. Isn't Deepak kind of super soy? I don't know. Maybe that's mean to say. Deepak kind of gives me soy vibes. I don't know. A little bit of soy vibes.
What the fuck? Sam. What is this?
Communications undergrad to communications dude. Do you find the whole dismissal of agreed vocabulary for defining gender and sex amongst individuals like Demon Mama frustrating as fuck? Yes, but I don't really care what Demon Mama. Okay, so how do I handle this? Okay, that's how I handle it. So Demon Mama came into that with an ideological goal in mind. she wants to say that if anybody says that they are a woman or that they are a man, that is valid and that is treated with respect, right? And this started from the Discord conversation about why do we have Discord gender roles, right? And so Riley put her in a position where she's really worried, and she knows a conclusion that she needs to have no matter what, which is that we're always respectful of what somebody says that their gender is, right? So we have that. That is 2 feet from our eyes in the perspective theory that we talk about sometimes, right? It's right in front of us. It's going to cover everything else up. So when Riley is trying to insert nuance in terms of like, but as a society, there is some kind of average that we could say lead up to the traits where we determine a certain gender, right? Like there is some societal definition that we could pick at, and it may be abstract. It may be ever changing. It may be something that everybody will give a different answer for, but on the whole, as an average, there are characteristics that we can pick. And she wasn't even willing to go that far, because to go that far begins to inch away from this idea that everybody can claim that they are whatever and they be that thing, right? And we respect that thing. And she doesn't want to invite this kind of like judge and jury over whether or not somebody should be able to identify with a certain gender, right? So she is going to fight against any kind of even step in that direction. That's the feeling that I got from her. And so when you have somebody like that, no matter what, they're not going to walk with you that far. A super chat from David Pina. He says, how much do you charge to talk about anime? It would be $40 an hour. Like all the other consulting stuff, it would be $40 an hour, unfortunately. But you can, if you want to, booksmarts.twitch@gmail.com. I'm only bringing this up because yesterday's trans debate, Destiny jumped in on, and dismissal of performative made me fume. And dismissal of performativity. Yeah, I mean, she is performative, but so is Steven when he's like debate broing people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This is going to be really shitty because I'm equivocating the two of them by even saying this. I hate that. I hate that by comparing people, you're equivocating them. And I need to find out better arguments against this. I need a debate bro this when people bring it up to me, because I hate hearing it. People hate the idea that they're being equivocated with somebody else just simply because their behavior is being compared. And I don't think it's fair to say I'm equivocating the two of these people on a larger level when I'm comparing a small thing that they do. So that's like... That's one thing I have a problem with, is like I see patterns and they're so clearly similar to me. But if I point out that these patterns are similar, the way that other people read into it is I'm saying these two people are similar, that these two people must therefore like at some larger level be like equivalent. Like, oh, okay, I can read between the lines, book smart. So you're saying Demon Mama and Steven are both debate bros. Like, no, that's not what I said. Like, I said that both of them do this particular thing. Ah, okay, I see. And because when Demon Mama does it, it's bad. That means when Steven does it, it's bad. And that means they're equally bad. Well, no, not really. I'm just saying, like, at a structural level, these are similar things, right? And I almost feel like those observations aren't worthwhile to make because of the way that people interpret them. I'm tempted to like remove that from my thinking altogether and just never share those thoughts with you guys. That like, oh, so-and-so talks a lot like so-and-so here. I really shouldn't do that because it has negative consequences for everybody involved. What do you guys think? Why don't you show off your cooking skills sometime? Yeah. I'm going to maybe go grocery shopping today or tomorrow. Maybe I'll get some eggs and we'll cook some like basic omelets or something, you know, another morning. I don't know. Maybe we'll cook up some sausages and stuff too. You're like a client talking to a psychoanalyst. I see patterns. You're equivocating behavior, not the entire person. If people really can't tell the difference, they're too self-absorbed. Yeah, but like, the problem is also when I talk to the people, like when I talk to Steven about like calling both the behavior of that one dude, Bob, and him as like being manipulative in some way. Like, well, if you're going to say he manipulated those girls because he talked to them after the fact and kind of laid out his case for why they shouldn't continue with those things, are you not doing something really similar when you came to those women and put them all together and like told them that they're all doing similar things and that he's lied to like Melina and all these other people and whatever, I feel like these are similar things in terms of like influencing the beliefs of these women. So I think like these should be given like we should observe that both of these are influencing the behavior of these women, and they're being pulled between like both of these kinds of people. Now, very, very different. Stephen is doing this after discovering that all these different women are coming forward with all these different problems. So where he's coming from, why he's doing that is very different from Bob going to all these women to try and save himself from their criticism in the public, right? Like these are two very, very different things, though they are like similar. So to shit on Bob for like trying to get the girls to go one way when you're also trying to get the girls to go one way, and then like being mad at him for trying to change the girls' position on things or whether or not they're going public with. I feel like these are like, you guys are doing similar things behind the scenes, and that's worth keeping in mind that like both of you had them by themselves and like we're trying to convince them of things. Like, I don't know. It for me and how I evaluate situations, those things are important to me. And when somebody tries to point out what one person is doing, like irrespective of the fact that they're doing it themselves, that pisses me off. And like, it impacts the way I view it. But I'm realizing that's not how other people work. Like, and I've realized this in my own friend group too. Like the friend group I have with all my streamer friends and stuff, I've noticed this as well. Like, it's never helpful to point out that there's like a pattern of behavior that's similar, and people always freak out and they always think you're equivocating. They always get like super offended. So I'm thinking that it's not like a helpful thing to do anymore. And so I'm trying to like cut it out. I'm trying to really make sure in my head that like this isn't equivocation. I can draw enough like dissimilarities between the things to make it clear on stream for you guys. But yeah, that's one thing I struggle with, and I have been struggling with lately. Manipulation implies a lot of sneaky shit. Yeah, but it is sneaky shit, dude. They didn't have the permission of all these people to like record them behind the scenes, yet they were recording them anyways when they're telling you shit that's like super duper personal. There was a lot of pressures from different people behind the scenes to get them to go public even after they changed their mind on it, right? And this is something I feel like is important to point out because it happens every fucking time. How do we handle this? How do we handle if somebody talked to a woman a ton and totally I don't want to use any charged language here. I initially wanted to say gas them up, but that's like implying that what happened to them didn't happen. How do I explain this? Let's say that you talk to a woman and she shares an experience with you that she thought may have been kind of sketchy. And then you listen to that and you're like, whoa, you got raped right there. Or, whoa, you got groomed right there. Or, whoa, you totally were sexually assaulted or harassed, right? And then this person's like, well, fuck, I never thought about it like that. But yeah, I totally did. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you go forward with their accusation defined that way that they just barely agreed to. And then that woman, after seeing the backlash, after seeing the way people treat her, after seeing the way people treat the accused, decides to walk back that claim. And in the walking back of that claim says things like, yeah, like I hadn't thought about it that way at the time. I was in a conversation with these people. They told me it was this way. I kind of believed that it was that way. After talking to the person or thinking about it on my own, I really don't think it's fair to call this that. What do we do then? And how do we handle that? Right? Like, do we create our own opinion of whether or not that thing was assault or harassment or rape or whatever, and then move forward on that irrespective of the woman's wishes? Is it one of those things like with authorship where when you put out a story into the world, it will be interpreted by everybody in their own way and you lose authorial control the moment it's out there? Is it like that? Is there any utility in looking back at who got this woman to think that this should be defined this way? And given that they went back on it later, do we then look to those people that got them to change the definition and question what that interaction was like? I don't know. What is the best way to handle this? Like, this is something I've seen recently with the Kurt stuff. It's something I've seen with the Bob stuff. It's something I've seen with the Me Too stuff that Destiny covered before the Bob stuff. It's something that comes up a lot. And I wonder about that. Like, what do you guys think, chat? My head hurts? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely, but I don't believe we can expect a large audience to understand the term as you use it rather than the okay. I'm asking about something different now. You are the only person I've seen who was able to reasonably review the Bob 7 manifesto and clearly see the problems without getting distracted by Steven's big performance. Yeah, it's tough. But do you get what I'm saying here? Like, how do you handle this? Do you go with what the woman says at the end? Or do you go with, like, what you interpreted that scenario to be? Like, do you give any respect to, like, what she thought of it? And if she talked to the accused and the accused got her to reverse the decision, do you factor that in? Like, do you look at the situation and go, when she was with like a bunch of like friends and other victims, she said it was this way. But then after talking to the accused, the person who like actually did the thing, allegedly, she changed her mind. Like, should I worry about that? Because she talked to the person who was accused. And of course, they're incentivized to get her to change her mind. Like, I don't know. Like, all of that situation to me is really difficult. And the fact that it's held online in front of like millions of people makes it even more like tough. I don't know. I'm very interested what you guys think on this one. Keck W spaced out 3 minutes ago. Need a TLDR? I just gave you one. I think it was hard for women to respond to him because if they were or remained polite, it would seem like they were dumb. And if they were angry or sounded crazy, girls don't. Case by case. I guess it is case by case. People got to take a stand and not care about other people's personal stuff. So okay, let me give you a quick like summary. Like a TLDR. So basically, what I'm asking is, I'm saying I have a tough time in situations where the information around something changes. Like the accuser of whether it's sexual assault or harassment or rape or any of these kinds of crimes, the accuser, the person levying the complaint, is convinced to upgrade what was simply like an awkward interaction in the past to like, oh, after talking with people, I've discovered that this may actually count as something much, much more serious. And then what happens if the people whom in private you talked with about this serious thing then came forward with it? They said, after you told me that, it is a public good that I share this with the world, that I make it clear that this person wronged you in this way and that they did this. And then that person changes their mind, and they changed their mind after talking to the person they accused of the thing. So let's say that this woman who is levying the accusation talks to the accuser, talks to the person that allegedly did this. And that person, after talking with them, they realize, oh, I don't know what those people got me thinking. It's not really that bad, okay? And I'm remembering why I didn't think negatively of this at the time, because we were like this way and we did this. Like, what if then they want to retract the statement? We're put in an interesting place. Do we believe the woman who put out a statement, or technically put out a statement? She said something in private, then people made it public, and then she retracts it. Or do we look at the situation itself and judge it by our own yardstick? Do we look at the description of what happened and say for ourselves, I don't care what that woman thinks. I think that constituted this. If that were to happen to me, I would count it this way. Like, what definition do we value there? How do we handle that? Do we think negatively at all of the people that convinced her in the first place that it was more than what she thought it was? Like, I don't know. You should be able to break down someone's behavior and whether or not it's good or bad without worrying about labels necessarily. I don't think most people operate that way. And I do think it's important that we have the labels, because the labels are kind of a huge part of this. Like whether it is rape or whether it is grooming or whether it is sexual assault versus harassment. These are very, very, very important and very particular to this conversation in particular. Very particular to this conversation in particular. I don't think the retractions meaningfully change the context of the evidence, at least not more than how it's framed in a larger narrative. See, I don't think that. I think the retraction should meaningfully change the context of your evidence. Now, to what extent it does, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it should. If the woman is telling me that she's like gone back on the accusation initially, I really am curious about why and what the reasoning behind that is and how that came about. If she was talking with the accused and the accused convinced her, I will take it with a grain of salt. But if she, through her own thinking on the situation, like came away thinking differently about it, I don't know. it sucks that it sometimes feels like we end up having to analyze in terms of someone's capabilities in terms of resisting influence. It all comes down to personal responsibility. If you don't feel that a certain person was raped, then it was not. People have to stop being so gullible to what others' opinions are. Own your life, make smart decisions, and move boldly. Do not choose to be a victim. Yeah, that's really cringy at the end there. Especially if we're talking about rape. I don't know. It like, hold on. So the reason, Godless Monkey, that I wouldn't take a position like yours is because the way that what you're saying sounds like is like, let's say a girl got fucking shit-faced drunk, okay? And somebody took advantage of her. And she, at the time, she was 16. She was underage drinking. And it wasn't even legal for her to have sex. Obviously, it's rape, right? But she doesn't want to count it as that because she doesn't want to be a victim, right? This is where your thinking comes into problems because it's like, well, no, regardless of how she feels about it, we have to label it a certain way, right? In that situation, we have to label it as like statutory rape, right? Like, so I don't know. Sorry, not societal standards, societal problems. Like, if only a victim's opinion matters, then we'll have to accept Weinstein's actions as being perfectly fine if all of his victims were later pressured into recanting. Yes, which is why I think that like the pressure and the reasoning behind their recanting is important. I want to give people the room to walk back something that they were too strong about. Or if somebody levied an accusation when they were like, I don't really know if it counts as this, but I'm going to like toss it out there and it ruins somebody. And then that person wants to retract it. I want to give them room to retract it. Like I want to give them room to like, yeah, it's not quite this. I was talking to other victims of this and I don't think it's this, right? Like the grooming thing that recently happened. There was talk on Twitter of somebody grooming somebody else, even though there was an age difference. This person seemed like they were legal. It seemed like they were of age. It seemed like they were all there. They didn't like, and then if they want to go back on whether or not they would count it as grooming, I want them to have the freedom to do that for the sake of the accused and for the sake of like the mobs of people online who will continue to go after the accused. I think it's powerful to give people room to like retract statements, but I wonder how like practical that is given the, given what we're talking about. I'm bad at not allowing people to sway my decision and my views on giving things. What's your, I don't know, dude, we're talking about something else. Was this stream spurred on by something? No, I wanted to show you guys where I'm at, the next month. The recanting could be a result of gaslighting. Right, Mo, which holy fuck. Man, I wish I could draw for you guys because I feel like there's like 15 parts to this thought that I'm talking about here, and if you miss even one of the 15 parts, you're going to talk about it in a way that like frustrates me. So what did you say that frustrated me? The recanting could be a result of gaslighting. Yes, so like what I'm saying is whatever made them recant that, whether it was talking to the accused or their friends or whatever, we need to look at that as a mechanism of this situation, and we should factor into our decision. Why did they recant it? Did they recant it on some solo thought on the thing? Did they recant it after a long, drawn-out discussion with the accused? Did they recant it after talking with friends? Did they recant it after a therapy session? What caused them to recant it? Because that's huge, right? Like, that is important, right? We need to know that part of it. Like, that should be a factor in whether or not we take their recant at heart. And that's what I'm saying is like, how do you guys do that? How do you guys take that into account? How do you guys evaluate where the recant is coming from? I don't think you can just offhandedly write it off. It really depends on like where that came from, like what thought process led to it. Draw. I know, but I don't want to draw it, dude. Feels so good, man, to hang out with my Uncle Book when Daddy Steven is D&Ding again. Oh yeah, is today Wednesday? That worked out really well then. Oh no, today is Thursday. Does he really do D&Ds on Thursdays? I thought he did it on Wednesdays. Why is this streamer not drawing? I don't want to draw it, guys. It's too fucking complicated and it's cringe. I'm not going to draw it out, dude. I really feel like I should. Maybe we'll discuss this at another point in the week. This will be content. Here, I'll put a note about it somewhere. But yeah, I'll draw it out later in the week. Maybe I'll think more on the topic. This is kind of just like shooting the shit because I'm interested in what you guys think on it. You should have set guidelines considering personal privacy, especially during a drinking talk. I don't know about this drinking thing. What happened? Can anybody give me a TLDR on the drinking thing? Somebody said he got somebody to drink a bunch and then he asked them personal questions. Is that like a good TLDR? Oh shit, Destiny is D&Ding. Have to leave. Bye, daddy. Goodbye. I know you're memeing because nobody leaves here to go watch Steven D&D. I don't know. You're memeing me now, bro, because I know nobody's leaving here to go watch Steven play D&D. That's for damn sure. Can we not, as a society, through public discussions in the marketplace of ideas, eventually arrive at objective standards and evaluate claims of sexual assault/harassment with that lens? Probably not. No, because your objective standard needs to take subjective stuff into account at some point, and I think that's where objective standards kind of fall apart when they need to kind of rubber meets the road with like subjective interpretation. I think they kind of fall apart. Do some interpretive dancing instead of drawing. Okay. I don't have downstairs neighbors, so I could. However, okay, and here's the thing about Mexico, okay? However, I'm worried I'm going to fall through the floor because I'm a fat fuck, okay? You guys know I'm a fat fuck. I don't have to hide that, all right? You know I'm a fat fuck. Beyond being a fat fuck, the guy was very honest with me this morning or last night about the problems with this house. And one of the problems is I was like, oh, do you stay here? Because I'm on like the 3rd floor. So I'm like, oh, do you stay here on the other 2 floors or do you live somewhere else? And he's like, oh, I like to stay in the room right below yours, but I can't. And I'm like, oh. And like when he said can't, he's like, I could see him thinking, dude. I could see the wheels turning. He's like, oh, I like to sleep in the room below yours. But I can't. I'm like, okay, why can't you? That's an interesting thing to say. And he's like, the roof is saggy. And I'm like, the roof is saggy. Oh, that's not good. What do you mean? You have a saggy roof. He's like, yeah, remember how I was telling you about how I was going to replace that thing in your bathroom? Well, I need to go to I went to Home Depot because I need the whole fucking assembly. Because you see what's happening is every time you take a shower, the bottom floor gets a bunch of water in it. So I can't be there anymore. And I'm like, oh. And he's like, yeah. And that's why it's sagging. Because the whole floor is starting to like sag more and more the more water. I'm like, okay. Okay. Note taken. And so when I'm stepping around, especially close to my bed, I can feel the floor giving and I'm just worried. I'm really, really worried. The other thing is that the staircase to get up to here is clearly just something that like he bought and he mounted into like the floor, and it's all like wiggle wobbly at the top. So yeah, I won't be dancing around up here, dude. That's for damn sure. Don't die, please. Yeah. What are you reading at the moment? Let me go grab books. We're gonna have book club this month probably. Let me go grab the books for a book club. I'll show you guys real quick. But yeah, best pick of you. What is this? From Wicked Supreme. It could be the gun one. It could be, I think it might be the gun one, right? Booksmart's out here saving women. Yeah, that's a good picture. That's a good picture. I was way better at the rifle than Supreme was. Dude, Supreme, for those of you that don't know, is godlike with a handgun. Supreme can put the target out at like 25 or 30 yards and still like hit that shit. And for anybody who's shot like a pistol before, that's like impossible. I don't know how he's doing that, dude. Supreme's scary, dude. Don't break into Supreme's house. That's all I gotta say, dude. But if Supreme has a rifle in his hands, you're good, dude. Just bob and weave and that motherfucker's never gonna hit you. I don't know how it's possible that he's that bad with a rifle when he's so good with a handgun, but interesting. Anywho, let me go grab the books. Yes, the books are easy. I'll be right back. Book fucking pog. Yeah. So the two that we have are The War of Art. Okay. This is a really cool book. Look, very thin. My pinky finger has a really long nail on it, but look, it's like a pinky finger long. So it's not that bad. The War of Art, really good. Look. You can tell it's good because I treat it like a Bible. I have like 1 million passages marked. So this is one that we'll be covering. He's preparing. Yeah, I am. And here's another one. Again, like a pinky finger, a little bit more than a pinky finger. And this is Man's Search for Meaning. This one we'll probably do before we do War of Art. Because I think that this one's really, really, really good. It's what I wanted to start with in January, but like I said, my planning skills are not so good, so we didn't end up finishing it. Is it actually about peace? No. The War of Art is... Here, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's a good line I could use to just explain to you guys really quick. Like, because this book is very simple, guys. It's like a lot of just like passages. It reminds me of like Bible shit. I don't know. It's just, it's a lot of like lessons. It's not really like a book. It's like, I don't know. If you do any kind of artistic work, you might really enjoy this. Like if I were to describe it on my own without a quote from the book, I most certainly could. So the basic idea is that if you are creating art or if you are creating anything, are engaged in a war. And on the other side of the battlefield is resistance. And what resistance is it's a force of nature which stands in the way of anything meaningful which you wish to accomplish. So let's say that I want to set out and prep a whole stream about the War of Art. Well, if I sit down at the table right behind the camera and I start to work on it, and I feel this nagging sensation to maybe go get a drink of water or itch my foot or take a shower, or maybe I'm hungry, or maybe I need to turn the AC on. Ooh, it's nice outside. Maybe I want to go for a walk. All of these thoughts are different. All these thoughts are kind of, procrastinating in nature. But where they're all coming from is from our mortal enemy, resistance. And what resistance does is it puts up roadblocks in between us and accomplishing all of the artistic and otherwise important goals that we have in life. And so the idea of this war and the idea of the book is to prep you for that fight and to teach you about some of the insidious ways that resistance will put up a fight against you and the ways that you have to work past it. And in particular, as a professional person who creates creative things or puts out creative work, how can you be what we call a professional? Well, a professional is someone who makes their entire life out of waging this war day in and day out. There are some people who need to sit down and write a paper, and so maybe they fight this like every week or every 2 weeks or something like that. But if you're somebody like me that makes content on the internet, or what I used to do, which is writing books for people, which is where a lot of this helped me out, you kind of need to constantly put things out. You need to constantly create. And so you're not able to just like, I don't know a better way to say this, pussyfoot around resistance. You have to learn how to actually fight the battle with it and win every time. And that's not easy. And so the book tells you about what are some things that happens and whatever. Like let me just pick a really good one. Here, I'll just pick one at random. Here we are. So the title of, we'll do this one. The title of this section is A Professional Does Not Take Failure or Success Personally. And the passage reads, actually, no, here, we'll do this. all of them are good. So I'm just trying to pick one that's short. So the title of this is A Professional Distances Herself from Her Instrument. And the passage goes, the pro stands at one remove from her instrument, meaning her person, her body, her voice, her talent, the physical, mental, emotional, and psychological being she uses in her work. She does not identify with this instrument. It is simply what God gave her, what she has to work with. She assesses it coolly, impersonally, objectively. The professional identifies with her consciousness and her will, not with the matter that her consciousness and will manipulate to serve her art. Does Madonna walk around the house in cone bras and come fuck me bustiers? She's too busy planning D-Day. Madonna does not identify with Madonna. Madonna employs Madonna. Okay? And if you look at the way that I have this marked up on the, here, I'll jump to it. If you look at the way I have this, this one little passage in the book marked up, I've got nearly I've got nearly the entire passage marked up, and I got a big sticky note, and it's really, really tiny. And it's just that one little chapter. So it's a lot of little things like this. What's the book's title again? This one is called The War of Art. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. But yeah, it's really great. It's about an artist, dude, that started to realize that, the things standing in the way of everything I want to accomplish, I can just personify as resistance. And on the opposite side, the creative force which compels me to create and which allows me to create and which I channel through my tools and my practice is something else. It's another, godly figure. And I'm going to call that my muse. So the muses will bring you creative inspiration and the kind of the talent necessary to bring into being these creative projects. And you are simply a rational observer who is meant to mediate between these two forces. So you have all the forces of creativity and your tools and your skills and your ability that are meant to push you forward and allow you to complete projects. But you're always going to come up against this resistance in many different forms, whether that's people distracting you and trying to take your time away from things, or procrastinating, or feeling like you're thirsty or you need to go do something else. There's a lot of, it takes form in many, many different ways. And so it's about learning how to handle that and learning how to use the tools on your side of the war effectively as well. So it talks about both sides of this war and how to carry out the battle in between them. I really, really, really like the book. I think it's really, really helpful. There is no better feeling than when you are in the flow. Yeah. Language is fucking crazy. You can be struggling for years on something, then someone puts words in the right order and your brain expands instantly. Yeah. Let me try to find another passage. Yeah, the book also kind of works you into these ideas very gradually. If I jump to one at the start of the book, you can very clearly tell that these ideas aren't fleshed out quite yet. If I go to, this is a 2-part section, although it only has a paragraph for each section. It's called Resistance and Procrastination. And the first chapter is, procrastination is the most common manifestation of resistance because it's the easiest to rationalize. We don't tell ourselves, I'm never going to write any symphony. Instead, we say, I'm going to write my symphony. I'm just going to start tomorrow, right? And then the second part of it is, the most pernicious aspect of procrastination is that it can become a habit. We don't just put off our lives today, we put them off till our deathbed. Never forget, this very moment we can change our lives. There never was a moment and never will be when we are without the power to alter our destiny. This second, we can turn the tables on resistance. This second, we can sit down and do our work. So little things like this are the things I need to hear when I'm facing a certain kind of resistance at work. So the reason that this book is marked with all these little tabulations is because if I'm feeling a certain way, I need a certain passage, like you just said in the chat, to kick me out of it. I need a certain combination of words to break my brain out of a spell, or to reaffirm a belief to me that I know is true so that I can get past it. And little things like that. If I'm procrastinating a ton, I like flipping to the procrastination section and reading this. Never forget, this very moment we can change our lives. There never was a moment and never will be when we are without the power to alter our destiny. This second we can turn the tables on resistance. This second We can sit down and do our work. If I read something like that, it's enough for me. Then I sit down and I actually do it. You know, and I think that really helps. Should the Discord have an art channel? No. The Discord can't, because I have not safe for work is like a very, very, very strict rule. I've even removed like clickbait things, or like monsters that look like women's body parts. Like, I'm very, very strict about the not safe for work thing, like to the point where I think if I started an art channel on the Discord, I would instantly get into a giant fight with the people that like the art channel, because they would be posting some shit and I would be deleting it, and they'd be like, you're discriminating against the art channel. I don't need it. So we're not going to invite an art channel into the server, for much the same reason that we can't have an anime channel, because it would invite big bouncing things and then skimpy out. Like it would become too difficult to moderate. So for now, no. Dr. K had pretty good advice on procrastination. There are multiple types: avoidance, unrealistic goals, and unclear goals. Yeah, maybe, dude. Yeah, I watched this video and it was good. Art channel can have no not safe for work. It can't. You guys are like, holy shit. Like, I like the Cal concepts is understandable. But for Mocrack and Disdays, no, you guys are out of your fucking minds. You guys, maybe you're like 15 years old and you can't like conceptualize like how things actually work. But no, the art channel cannot have no not safe for work. It'll never work that way in a million years. And you have to use common sense to arrive at the fact that it won't, right? Just like I can arrive at the common sense that even if I put no not safe for work on an anime channel, we will eventually get there. So no, I think it's an inevitability, unfortunately. But we can as well do it another second, like after finishing up the next YouTube video. I feel like you would make good movie reviews. Maybe, dude. You just need that 1 second of inspiration to start working on something. But the problem is, no, you don't. Okay, Annie. Part of this book is also about how that inspiration shit is, you're full of it, okay? If you think you're just going to wait for inspiration to pull you through shit, you're basically like sitting down in the mud and hoping that somebody comes and picks you up. It's a very, very, very silly way of working through things. You shouldn't rely on that shit at all. I don't know, bro. Look, as an artist, literally the foundation of human figure drawing involves not safe work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like the idea that one of these channels is not going to have not safe for work is silly. Like a lot of the great artworks too have like not safe for work imagery in them. So I mean, it's just like, we don't need it on the Booksmarts channel. You know, if the Booksmarts channel has the thing about no, not safe for work, I don't want people to open the app and then see something they shouldn't see. I don't know. Did you read that wrong? I said fleeting, so it's unreliable. Are you kidding? I don't know. I'm gonna let you go, Annie. I'm gonna ignore you for the rest of the stream. I think you're going nuts. I'm not wrong, but I have to chill. Wait, what? Where? What did you say before? You are not the first Discord ever? What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about?
I'm not 15, alright? I follow many art channels. None of them have not safe for work. You're wrong. Alright, you're a fraudulent Discord server runner.
Too lazy to scroll up? Bitch, I did scroll up. Fitting to start fucking muting people. I want to see some of your names. We're meant to be talking about a book here. What are you guys on about? Look, we got the Armenians in chat saying question mark, or Armin Lex, whatever. Look, we got question marks, bro. We're meant to be talking about a book. Why are you guys talking about not safe for work art channels? You're like all over the place, bro. Why are people so mad right now? Because I said that you can't have an art channel because you guys are going to post not safe for work. And then dumb fucks in the chat were like, actually, Booksmarts, I'm on plenty of different servers and none of them have any not safe for work problems with the art channel. I would know because I'm on the moderation team and those communities are really analogous to yours. And like, I don't know. Like, the difficult thing is I have to like just write opinions like that off because I handled the moderation for my Discord. And I know that even without these channels, we have major problems with like this particular issue on there. So yeah. And then Cal Concepts is getting in separate fights with people about inspiration. So that's his battle to undertake. Are all Discord users like this? Like what? there's just enough, right? There's just enough. I would say the power users of Discord, there's certainly some power users that make not safe for work like a main part of their thing. Make an art channel where you can't post pictures, Pepe laugh. Yeah, you can only post poetry, dude. Just by saying in that voice, it's immature. Oh, okay, bro. Wait, what are you even talking about? These days, maybe you need to go take a break, bro. You were really mad about that 15-year-old comment, bro. I was like, Disdays is some 15-year-old doesn't understand how the world works. And Disdays is like, actually, I turned 18 last month, so I'm a grown-ass adult, you dumb fuck. Okay, bro. Okay, bro. Book knows we're all degens. Yeah, a little bit, bro. I mean, there's enough degens to make it a problem for everybody else, so that's kind of it. And I don't feel bad about it. Like, honestly, if you guys are boasting to me your kind of like ethos, your appeal to authority on knowing a bunch of other Discord channels, then you should also know that if you want to have conversations about art, about not safe for work stuff, about anime, you can go to any other Discord channel and do that, right? They all have channels for it. This one in particular has rules against not safe for work that override everything else, that override all of our decisions with the content, the organization, everything on that Discord channel. So, I mean, you have art channels everywhere else. You have not safe for work allowed everywhere else. You have anime allowed everywhere else. So just go to another server. Just know the Booksmart server is not for that stuff, you know? And I don't think it's like, I've talked with the mods about this, and I don't think it's like unreasonable to say that, to just be like, okay, well, the Discord server for me is just something different. You use it differently, just the same way that Dr. K's Discord server is used differently by people, right? And one of the ways that this server is different than others is I don't allow that stuff. And as a consequence of the no not safe for work rule, we don't have things like an art channel. We don't have things like an anime channel. We don't have, you know, particular things. And that's just the way it is. I am 8, by the way, if you didn't pick up on that from my chat contribution, Kappa. Well, if it helps you, you have more sense at 8 than some of these other chatters have at 18. So just keep that in mind, bro. I'm a bit confused. I got here late. Why is the name of the stream Mexican Standardized Testing? Today we're in Playas de Tijuana in Mexico. So that's why. And I'm testing the stream out today. I wanted to have a bit of a longer stream, see how it keeps up. After the stream, I'm probably going to put the VOD on and listen to the audio to figure out if I need to change the gain levels at all, whether or not the outside noise is coming in, because there's a lot of outside noise here. It sounds to me like you guys are not having a problem with the outside noise. So what I'm assuming is happening is this mic is really good at directional, because even with noise canceling headphones on, I hear jackhammers, and I hear the ocean, and I hear the clanking of plates, and I hear all sorts of things that you guys are not hearing. So, which I'm super happy about. I'm like super duper happy. It's one of the only times that I have felt this $100 microphone is worth it. Because normally, especially when I started out, dude, I had nothing but problems with this microphone, dude, and getting it to work. Like, I wondered, why do you have to turn the gain up to a gazillion? Why do you have to turn the audio up to a gazillion? Like, I had so many, like, little pet peeves that ended up just, like, you know, I learned how audio works, and so I'm fine with it. Is Booksmart's Mexican like me? Hell yeah, bro. It's very faint. Sounds like tiny squeaks. Okay, good. There's a bit of white noise, but overall it's quite good. That's great. I'm happy to hear that, dude. Mexico. Me gusta tu camisa. You better know what I just said. You like my shirt? I'm not even wearing a shirt, dude. I'm wearing a jacket, so yeah. I know what you're saying. Camisa shirt, isn't it? I don't know. I gotta brush up on my Spanish. We might have a Spanish stream. I'm thinking, all right, you guys let me know if this would be cool. So, I did like 3 years of Spanish. And so what I'm figuring is that we could do like, I could look through the standards in California for Spanish, go through all the standards with you guys and explain them like rapid fire. And then we'll be caught back up with where I left off on the language. And I'm pretty sure I could do that. Like I think that might be a cool thing to do. That could be a YouTuber for you guys. But yeah, I've been thinking about that because I need all my grammar back, dude. Because because I haven't used Spanish in like such a long time. I don't even hang out with my family anymore, so I don't ever have an opportunity to use Spanish. Nice cock. Thanks. Dang, everybody's arguing with Cal Concepts. Damn, you're talking about discipline, not inspiration. Oh shit. Bro, everybody is arguing with Cal Concepts in the chat. Dude, you fucked up. That's what you get for talking about inspiration, bro. That's what you get. The second book that we'll be going through is going to be this one, which is, funnily enough, this is the copy of Man's Search for Meaning that I had when I was in school. Because at the top here it says AP Lang 2013. So, wow, that's old. I had this book back in 2013. It still has my highlights and my notes in it. I've told you guys before, but one of the reasons why I love writing in my books is because I can see like what was important to me in 2013 and like what does present Noah look at differently than past Noah. And I love it. I love remembering when I did some of this too. Like, why did I think this was cool? Oh, that's right. I like use this in class or I use this in a paper. It's kind of interesting. But man, this is a good book. A lot of the highlights are actually kind of like fading out of the book. I wonder if that's like a normal thing. A lot of my yellow highlights are like super duper faded. The orange ones look fine. Each man has a question in my life, and he can only answer life by answering for his own life. Like, the way that this dude writes is just so profound. I don't know. Like, here's the last paragraph from a passage called The Meaning of Life. And the last passage is, as each situation in life presents a challenge to man and presents a problem for him to solve, the question of the meaning of life may actually be reversed. Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. Like, just this one little line. Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. In a word, each man is questioned by life, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To life, he can only respond by being responsible. Like, thus, logotherapy sees in responsibleness the very essence of human existence. Like, just this one little, like, 3-part thing here, this 3-sentence thing. Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. In a word, each man is questioned by life, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To life, he can only respond by being responsible. Thus, logotherapy sees in responsibleness the very essence of human existence. Like, I don't know, shit like this is just like really, really well put. I don't know. Like, I imagine these points like laid out on a piece of paper and turning that outline into this text. And that's where the beauty comes in. Like, if you outlined all of these ideas for me and you put them down in like bullet points, and then you asked me to write this same passage, I would do such a shittier job of it. But everything down to like the way he's able to use 2 semicolons in the same sentence, like, Jesus Christ. I don't know. This guy is rough. Like, I don't know, makes me appreciate this. Then again, I believe this is written in German and then translated over. I'm not sure though. But yeah, F command doesn't work. Oh shit, that was brain expand. It really makes you think. I don't know if you guys are memeing me, but whatever. If anyone wants to debate or discuss the inspiration topic more, let's move to Discord. I don't want to take over the Twitch chat. True. Yeah, you should go argue with them over voice, Cal. Like, semicolons is big brain shit. It's actually pretty small brain shit, but I think it's a scary thing for people to wield. Like, here is some big brain advice. You guys want to know how to use a semicolon, which is where you have a comma on the bottom and a period on the top? All it is a period inside of a sentence. So if you're thinking about using a semicolon, what you need to ask yourself is, if I put a period here, would it work? Right? Because all that a semicolon is it's separating 2 complete sentences from each other, like a period would. And the purpose of using a semicolon over a period is that you want the reader to not take a full stop in between these ideas, to consume them all at the same time. So if you have two sentences, you want read one after the other, maybe because they're parallel in the front of them or in the back of them, or they're part of a list. I don't know. If you want those two sentences read simultaneously, but they're separate ideas that technically need a period, then that's why you would use a semicolon. And like, you really need to justify the use of it. Like, the reason he was able to get away with using two semicolons is he has like parallel structure in the front of two of the three sentences, and the last sentence is like a conclusion to the first two. So like it works out like super duper well. But anywho, that's how you use a semicolon. That's what we teach people in SAT prep. Is if you're doing SAT prep and you need to see like which sentence is grammatically correct and using a semicolon, just make sure that you can use a period there, and that'll give you the answer to like 90% of the questions. Like, if you swap in the period for the semicolon, does the sentence work? If the answer is no, then it's an improper grammatical use of the semicolon, and then you're going to pass the SAT. It's super duper simple. Now, it's more complicated when you're dealing with books and stuff, but as a student, I would say that that's probably the golden rule. Just make sure that you could swap in a period and it would be okay. M dash is greater than a semicolon. Well, an M dash is something completely different, right? So this is why you would use a semicolon over an M dash, as a semicolon is specifically meant to separate two complete sentences. Or an M dash, sure, you could have an entire sentence after the dash, but there is no requirement that you have a complete sentence after the dash. The dash could be used to separate a clause just by itself that wouldn't be able to stand alone as a sentence. So the dash is not always able to be swapped out in place of the semicolon. So you got to be careful with that, or vice versa, I guess. The semicolon can't always be put in where you put a dash. So I think it's much easier to explain the semicolon to people than the dash. Worst thing about reading is authors that don't make the text sing to you. It's boring as hell. I guess, dude. Punctuation is a tool of the bourgeoisie to oppress the working class. Yeah, it's to get the working class to get their brains to work in a more poetic way, because the working class just have two heads. Yeah. Sorry, book, but my two standard deviations to the left of the Bell IQ curve cannot keep up with this big brain shit. When someone uses more than two semicolons, my micro YouTube chat brain turns out.
You have to form these opinions yourself.
Interesting.
You can't cut to the chase.
Thanks,
Drawing your
Space
own conclusions is the chase.
Haven't watched stream much lately because of work, but here's my prime. Thanks, I appreciate it, brother. A period. Yikes! I'm not gonna read that, Drake. You're yikesing me out, brother. Let's find another cool passage from here. Wonder if there's another good passage. Yeah, there's so much good stuff in here. It's difficult to like pick a passage and not give you guys like the context to the rest of it. What is this? This passage is really, really good. Or more so like what he's talking about here. In spite of so to give you some context for the book, this Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl is a book about a logotherapist, which is a kind of psychology. And what happened was, in World War II, he had this theory of logotherapy, which is basically giving people therapy based on where they find meaning in their life and helping them to pursue this meaning and discover it and then live according to that meaning. And he had all this work ready, and then World War II happens, and they round up all the Jewish people, right? And he's one of those people. So over the course of his time in the camps, he tries to remember all of the research that he had so he could publish it after the war is over. And so what's interesting is he was given a good test bed for a lot of these ideas. He was able to keep track of like which prisoners were doing well, which ones were doing bad, what was going on in the camps, and then relate that to his logotherapy and his ideas around psychology. And so, yeah, that's basically kind of the background of the book. So here he's talking about the camp. In spite of all the enforced physical and mental primitiveness of the life in a concentration camp, it was possible for spiritual life to deepen. Sensitive people who were used to a rich intellectual life may have suffered much pain. They were often of a delicate constitution, but the damage to their inner lives was less. They were able to retreat from their terrible surroundings to a life of inner riches and spiritual freedom. Only in this way can one explain the apparent paradox that some prisoners of a less hardy makeup often seem to survive camp life better than did those of a robust nature. In order to make myself clear, I am forced to fall back on a personal experience. Let me tell what happened on those early mornings when we had to march to our site. So then he talks about, the camp and whatever. But basically here he's talking about, and he talks about later in the book, those who were able to create a place inside of their minds to retreat to and to live in did a lot better in the camps than people who were physically able and who could have done all of the things that the camp required of them. And they lasted longer despite not being as physically able. And this is kind of counterintuitive to some people, because people would think, wouldn't it be the people who were brainiacs and didn't have the body for it that would go out first? And it's like, well, no, because the mental of everybody else went on much quicker, right? For people who had never learned to reside inside of themselves or to think or to explore or to use their imagination, they had to live in that hell all the time, and they didn't have a place to retreat to or a place to find solace in. And so it was the people who had those places that lasted longer in the camps. So I don't know, a lot of really cool, interesting ideas in here. When I was a kid and I read this, it left a very, very, very big impact on me. So I think this is a good one to start with. I think we'll do this book first. So if you want to pick this one up or read it, I think this will be the next book club, Man's Search for Meaning. And I'll probably do the entire thing at once, pick a bunch of sections out of the book, and do a video on it, maybe a stream. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm also tempted. Maybe it'd be a good idea to put out an intro video about the book, maybe some guided reading questions that we'll go over at the end, and then give you guys a week or two to read the book, and then we go through it, right? And then in 2 weeks, we'll have a stream where we all talk about it, and yada yada. I'll go through the guided reading questions, then we edit that, put it on YouTube. I can see this. This is good. I think we could do that. I think that would work. How long do we have to get the book? I don't know. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks, because this week I'm going to be working on a bunch of catch-up work, and part of that catch-up work is establishing how we're going to do book club. And when I'm done with that, I guess I'll have more information. We're still in the brainstorming phase, so finding an efficient way of doing the book club is necessary. I also want to bring on guest readers with me so we could talk with the guest person about it. Because I think it's kind of boring when it's just me in chat, because only so many of the chatters even read the book. The problem is finding streamers that are down to read with me. If you guys know anybody, let me know. I bet I could get Rage Pope to do it, maybe. Senpai Chow, maybe. Some of the leftist people actually read books, I guess. Maybe Bastiat. That would be cool, to read a book with Bastiat and do it. It would have to be about something interesting. But I don't know. If you guys have any ideas on who we should read Man's Search for Meaning with, I'd be open to it. Book ASMR when? Never, dude. I'm a really slow reader. Please give me a lot of time. Well, sexy. I don't know, bro. I don't know about that. Vosh Lamau? No. I guess some lefties read books, Lamau. But I don't know. I'm gonna give you guys 2 weeks. If you can't figure it out, you got bigger problems if you can't read a book this small in 2 weeks. You either are one of the busiest people alive, or you don't have time management skills. But you should definitely be able to read a book in 2 weeks. Books that don't have picture. Well, this one doesn't have picture. I'm starting to think you're not the target audience of this, Al. If I'm being quite honest. You're like, I can't read in 2 weeks. I need pictures. Okay. I don't know if this is the right one for you. You might want some Reading Rainbow shit, bro. Wait, I came in late. What's the book? Man's Search for Meaning. I'll wait for the War of Art book club. I just bought a 700-page book on the history of China. China. Have you ever listened to the podcast No Dumb Questions? I have not. I've heard advertisements for it. If they do book club episodes, maybe I should watch that. Yeah, because I've heard, oh man, maybe it's Planet Money, or is it Throughline that I hear the advertisements for that in? Where would it be? Is it Planet Money that would have advertisements for that? Is that an NPR thing? I think it would be. Yeah, I've heard advertisements for it. I've never watched it. I watched that, or I listened to that People I Mostly Admire, which I think is also advertised at the same time as No Dumb Questions. And I think People I Mostly Admire is okay. I kind of like that one. Throughline, FYI, while we're talking about it, if you guys haven't listened to a podcast, Throughline is really, really good. Lately, they've been doing all that, African American history stuff. So I find that that's interesting to add another dimension to like history if you don't know about it. Like, I didn't think about how like the census played into that. And I didn't think about how like the census was getting changed around the same time that we thought eugenics was a thing. And so like some of the questions were influenced that, like, seeing this extra dimension of history really helps me. It helps me be like, oh, okay. So like I kind of get like negative aspects of things that I didn't think negatively of before. And so it's been helpful for that a lot of the time. But just in general, it's a really good show to bring together like what happened in the past and how did that lead to how things are today. And it's a lot of like, they worked backwards very clearly. They started with the way that things were today and talked to experts to figure out how it came to be. But then they wrote it to bring a listener through the other way, to bring a listener through from the start of history to the way it is in the modern day. And that it reminds me a lot of how I do prep for the debate reviews and stuff, where like, okay, the benefit that I have is hindsight and foresight. I know what's going to happen in the future because I can plan it, and I know what happened in the past because I watched it. So it's a matter of like, how do I create the most entertaining path for a viewer to be on that knows nothing about it, right? Like, and that's the way I try to design a lot of the shows. And they do that with Throughline really, really well. So they're like kind of a big inspiration for that. Man's Search for what? For Meaning. And it's by Viktor E. Frankl. And in my version, there is a foreword by Harold S. Kushner. So yeah, my book costed $8.99 when I got it for a paperback, so it should be pretty cheap. This is one that I think you might be able to find an online manuscript for as well. If you just wanted to read it online, I'm sure that you would be able to. But yeah, before you get started on that, I want to create like guided reading questions and like to get people to understand that they should highlight passages and stuff as well, though. And I might, that's a great idea. I should reincorporate homework at the same time I bring this back. I should give you guys homework for the book, and the second we hit enough homework submissions, then I do the stream. That might be best. So like if we get 10 people that fill in the homework for the book, then I'll hold the class. I think that might be a better way of doing it. Yeah. I'm 65% sure, 65% through Man's Search for Meaning. It got kind of boring after the first section. I don't know how you get bored in this book. It's like, I don't know how you got bored through it. It's like the same thing at the start as it is at the end. I don't understand that, but okay. Like, do you have any explanation on that? What, he just talks about logotherapy. Anywho. Man in Holocaust boring. Yeah, I didn't want to call him out on that half of it, but yeah, it's not good optics, bruh. It's not good optics. You do the homework and Booksmarts bullies you for your answers, Sag. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want, dude. Well, not to bully people, but I think it would be helpful to like know where people are at with stuff as I'm getting started on it. like, oh, okay, people are pointing this out. Like I can change the course to like kind of match where people are coming from. This is too central for Twitch. You can't lay in front of me and read like this. How nice would that be if I did like a whole recording where I'm just like, it was my turn. Somebody whispered to me that to be sent to the right side would mean work, the way to the left being for the sick and those incapable of work, who would be sent to a special camp. I just waited for things to take their course, the first of many such times to come. My haversack weighed me down a bit to the left, but I made an effort to walk upright. The SS man looked over me, appeared to hesitate, then put both his hands on my shoulders. I tried very hard to look smart, and he turned my shoulders very slowly until I faced right, and I moved over to that side. The significance of the finger game was explained to us in the evening. It was the first selection, the first verdict, made on our existence or non-existence. For the great majority of our transport, about 90%, it meant death. Their sentence was carried out within the next 2 hours. Those who were sent to the left were marched from the station straight to the crematorium. This building, as I was told by someone who worked there, had the word bath written over its doors in several European... Like, I could just, like, read the whole fucking thing. By the way, this is the book that motherfucker said was boring, and we're talking about, you know, I don't know. He's like, yeah. Oh, I already know about this. Like, okay, bro. Booksmart's audiobook series, yeah. The logotherapy bit was boring. The entire point of the book was boring. Interesting. You were more down for the camp stories, bro. Is that what you were? Is that what you were into? Interesting. Which camp was the author in? Auschwitz, I believe. I believe he was in Auschwitz. He was in the camp of all camps, bro. Like, I'm pretty fucking sure. I'm like 90% sure he was in Auschwitz. Can anybody give me a confirmation on that? I'm pretty sure he was at Auschwitz, though. Can somebody Google and confirm? I can't Google it, unfortunately, with the computer set up the way it is. But yeah, I'm like 99% sure it was Auschwitz. I got no answers from anybody, so I'm gonna assume it was that. I can't find it really quick though, and I can't control F. But yeah, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, it was? Okay, cool. But yeah, so that's what's going on with this. We'll do that. Anything else? Anything else we should go through? I'm trying to think. I don't think there is. I'm kind of hungry. I need to go get food. But, yeah. Okay. I'm going to find a place to put you guys for the night. Let's see. Where do y'all want to go? Any particular desires? Anybody? Anybody want to go anywhere in particular? You want to go watch Steven do D&D? Where do you want to go? Let me know in the comments down below. Cool? Feels weird, man? Well, I mean, I think it's cool I remembered, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Not cool as in the camp's cool. I don't think the camp's very cool. All right, let's raid. I'm really important, I guess. I don't really see anybody else on. So, IRI it is. Oh, no, I just joined. Well, rip. The cool thing is, if you guys go onto the YouTube, you can watch all of this. And you can rewind and pause and go forward and yada yada. Whatever you want, really. So /raid. I'm really important. I'm really important is really cool. They talk politics on their channel. From the perspective of somebody who actually cares about how things are working in the real world. He watches C-SPAN and the boring stuff. XQC is on. He just has 100,000 viewers. Okay, yeah. I don't think XQC needs the raid. So we're gonna hop over to IRI. Have a good time, guys. I'll see you later. Bye. And then to the YouTube people, we're gonna have our secret YouTube talks. Where's my YouTube chat at? All right, all the Twitchers are gone. Where's my YouTube chat? How are you guys doing? How did you like it so far? I haven't seen you guys chatting very much. Just some random bits on the book being boring, and that's it.